Trigger warning. The following episodes include stories of self-harm and sexual assault. Listener discretion is advised.
But a couple of times in that house from 2010 till now, I have felt like assaulted while I was sleeping. Like,
oh my God.
yeah. And in very, very, very different ways, where I actually think I'm in the act or...
And we are not live. I think it's a thing, right? I think the listeners already have spoken.
I know.
They like it. They like it.
Well, here's the thing. They like it, just the normal, not live.
Yep.
But quite frankly, I heard what you all say. I respect your opinions. I'm having too much fun doing this now.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm sorry. This is how we're introducing ourselves now.
And today,
Don't worry, we're not going to stray off too much in terms of topic when it comes to the intro, because as you can see, we have guests for today's episode of
Hello.
Dead Air.
today is the 13th of the month.
13th of the month.
So that means
You
it's
got a
dead
good
air.
number.
Yes.
It's the best number.
Correct.
I say that also because Carl was born on the 13th.
Oh, of
Yeah.
which month?
So was my son.
Ah. See?
June.
Oh yes.
Hey, same birthday as my son.
Oh, nice.
That's what
What
I
is going
thought.
The
on?
spirits have spoken.
Yes, they have. Birthday spirits, where are you?
As you can tell, it's going to be one of those episodes because we haven't even done the intro to our guests yet.
Yeah.
And already we're veering off into supernatural 13th. So let's get the intros out of the way and then this conversation can continue nice and proper.
Right.
There we have Cassandra Rudge and Aizuddin Nasser, the founders of FoundFilms.
That's right.
I didn't realize how, the founders of FoundFilms.
It's a
There you
little
go.
bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Yeah?
I'm glad I didn't trip up on that one.
I'm glad you didn't either.
So, FoundFilms is dedicated to amplifying the voices of underrepresented Singaporean filmmakers. Their mission is to create bold, meaningful stories that reflect the diversity and depth of Singapore's creative landscape, tackling important issues like colorism and mental health. Welcome to the show, guys. We're so glad
Thank
to have you all
you.
here.
Thank you.
Thank you
We're
for
so
having
glad to
us.
be here.
Yeah.
Right?
I've got a friend who's a fan of your show, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, so I
thanks.
was asking questions, from a lot of people, and one of them was asking me earlier, like, so which podcast is it? I said, we are HANTU. Wait, what? So he volunteered 2 more stories. I only asked him for 2. He gave me 4.
Oh, nice.
You see?
Hey.
You see?
I didn't need to be given stories, okay?
no,
I'm student of the year.
Okay. It's not a competition.
It is always a competition. Have you not met me?
Yeah. With her, it's always a
Type
competition.
A, always a competition.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
A little bit of background. So clearly, we've met them before. This isn't the first time we're meeting. And I think the first time the 4 of us met was where was it? It might have been at some
Book
What
to
is it?
screen,
Yes,
right?
book
It was
to
book to
screen.
screen.
Yes,
and
yeah,
it
it
was
was
so much fun.
yeah. And I remember within probably let's give some credit. We were eating also at the same time. So about 10 minutes, y'all started telling ghost stories.
Yep.
The moment you knew what we did.
Right.
Yeah.
I think mostly her, but yes. Yes.
So in between food, it was like, let me tell you the story.
Yes.
Yes.
And then in between food, I was also like, tell me more.
Have to. You know what I mean? It's been something that has been part of my life. Oh, I'm not going to get into it already. Yeah, we'll wait.
This is a perfect time for me to segue into one of my questions, which is how did the 2 of you meet and then decide we're going to start a company called FoundFilms?
Oh my God. I'm going to say there was actually a movie, weirdly enough, that brought us together.
Some production that you're both involved in?
No, we were actually trainers we were training at a school.
Yeah.
We were doing this youth at risk
Program. Yes.
And every time there was a break, there was a group of us, right?
Yeah.
And we would, hang out together and we'd get talking. And I think you and I, somehow, all conversations led to film.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All conversations.
Yeah.
And then I think you asked me, what's your favorite movie?
Yeah, because I was just going around. When I found out that she loves films, I always ask people this very first question: what is your favorite film? And so when she answered what she answered with, I'm like, wait, for the first time, I've heard someone saying the same film as their favorite film as mine. You know what I mean? So we share the same answers to it, which was
The Godfather.
That's right.
Yes. Not 2, not 3.
The first one.
The first one.
Godfather.
Okay,
Best
okay.
one.
Yeah.
Y'all both realize Godfather is your favorite film.
Yes. And then we
Yes.
both realized how much we love film.
Yeah.
And then I think because you were an actor, I mean, you are an actor, what am I talking about, right? And then, we have this whole conversation about wanting to be in films and scripts that you wish, you could be in. And what's the best way to do it? Write your own scripts.
Yeah.
And so we moved on, right? And I was like, oh my God, yeah, I totally want to write a script.
Yeah.
I started with this script called Uggles to Glamour, and that didn't work out, right? And then I decided, you know what? The one thing I always wanted to talk about was colorism, and the discrimination against darker skin tones, especially in Asia. But then again, it happens all over the world.
Yeah.
And so I wrote this short film called Not Fair. And then Ice introduced us to his producer friend. I stalked him for about 2 years, right? Sean, when are we going to make the film? Sean, when are we going to make the film? Sean, and then finally, he became a good friend. He's still a friend of mine, and and then we made Not Fair in 2021,
Yeah.
right? And then and you know what? The rest is history, right? Because
Yeah.
after we made Not Fair, and then things just started happening. We were just like, oh my God, we can write scripts, we can act in them, because I act too.
Yeah.
But we like to distinguish. So when people ask me, because I've acted quite a bit, and I'm like, no, writer first, actor second. And he's always like, actor first, producer, right?
Yeah,
or
and
whatever
only
second.
because where
And then
I
business
wanted
owners
to,
together.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
want to make it clear that I have tremendous respect for writers, right? So people
Yeah.
always say, so both of you write. I say, well, you can say that she's the main writer, and we bounce off ideas together, we
Yes,
brainstorm
yes,
together,
yes.
and I come in from the, I guess, actor's point of view, where hey, these are things that
Yeah.
should be worked in, or that would help.
Yeah.
Because to me, the toughest, the hardest, in my opinion, role
Yeah.
is writing.
Yeah.
To me, right?
Yeah.
I always find it weird that writers are at the bottom of the totem pole. I mentioned this to her all
we
the
are
time.
though. We are.
Because without, there was nothing, and then whatever you write,
Yeah. We created the world,
Yeah,
the people,
everything else exists.
everything.
Yeah.
The jobs.
yeah.
Yep.
It's crazy. To me, I don't know how writers are able. I can think of concepts. I can think of a scene, maybe. I
Yeah,
can think of a
yeah.
character. But to think of something with arc, and something that
Yeah.
leads through,
Yeah.
and something that people don't expect, that all comes from the writer's mind,
True,
brain, and so much talent. It's so tough.
But a script is just a script, lah.
It's
Until
scary
you
as
get
well.
the right actors and the right directors and the right producers, and that's when the magic happens. Or it completely fails, depending on who you get.
That's why filmmaking is so special. It's so
Yeah.
collaborative.
It is,
Right?
though.
It
Yeah.
brings people together. I mean,
It does.
If the director is an asshole, then then the project will probably collapse. But
Yeah.
most of the time is good vibes, lah. You work,
Yeah.
you meet the right
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
They are in it with you for life. Like you meet that
Yes.
one producer,
Yes.
that one director, that one DP, that AD. It's like, okay, you're with me for life. All projects, let's do it together. Because
Yeah.
you just understand
Yes.
each
Yeah.
other.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's the beauty
Yeah.
about filmmaking.
Yeah.
For sure. I think you're like the De Niro to my Scorsese, right?
Wow.
Wow,
I
that's
mean,
so
I
sweet.
like how we
That's so
just
sweet.
elevated, put ourselves on top of the world.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Who are you?
No, it's a dictionary thing, so people understand.
Right,
You use it
yeah.
as an example.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
every script I ever write, now we're working on this script called Chasing Demons, which is about 3 human beings who
And it's
can't
based
let
on
go
a
of their
short film
demons.
called Lockdown.
Lockdown. So we made another film, Lockdown. And it's very interesting. One so commercial, right? Not fair. Everybody loved it. We won awards for it. And then we made Lockdown during the lockdown, and that's like an industry favorite. And it's just about a guy who quarantines himself in his bunker during a lockdown, and then he meets his worst enemy, and then there's this massive confrontation that goes on, right? And then I won't tell you the rest, so you'll have to watch it. Yeah.
Okay, now that we're talking about films, do both of you have any ghost stories to share from film or television sets?
Or even since you were talking about how you've done stage plays as well, anything from stage plays.
Yeah.
Well, do you want me to go first?
Go for it.
Okay. So
I can tell she said go for it because she's got a whole
I know. Yeah.
an armory's worth of ghost stories she's waiting to tell.
And she does. And she does. Trust me. She does. So about, what year is this? 2025. About 13 years ago, I was a part of a film shoot, a major film franchise in Singapore. And it basically is about, and by now, after I mention this, you're going to think, okay, I know which film this is. Okay. So, yeah.
The first one?
The first two, yeah. We were in the middle of the jungle, right? So I remember in some of the scenes that in one of the scenes that not in one, in many of the scenes, if you watch the film, right, you will notice that there are a lot of scenes in the jungle and all that, as you would if you're trying to chronicle the National Service life and all that.
Yeah.
So one of my co-actors, now it's common knowledge that things like that reside in nature, especially, right? Like in jungles. And of course, as an Asian, as a Singaporean, as a Muslim or whatever you call it, we're also told the other parts, the other place that this is very prominent in is in the middle of the sea, right? Because, people do stuff like So anyways, going back, it doesn't help that we were on an island surrounded by waters, right?
Tekong?
We are in the jungle itself.
Was it Tekong?
Yeah, Tekong. It was Tekong. And so what happened was one of the scenes required us to dig the tunnel, right?
Yeah.
What do you call that? The shell scrape.
Yes.
Shell scrape, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason, one of my co-actor, he didn't abide by what we keep telling him, like, you gotta be careful with this space. And I will go up there and say, hey, I think you might want to stop lah. But all he did was, even after, when the camera wasn't on us, right, and we are shooting and something else, he just kept digging and digging and digging and digging and digging. And I don't know whether he's fully conscious when he does it, but it seems like, sometimes when people are not hypnotized, but they're not themselves.
Yeah.
So he just kept doing, like he kept doing.
Possessed?
I don't know. I don't think he was possessed, but I think he was almost like in a trance state. I might be wrong, but from my observation of him, he just kept doing it. Like for some reason, it's like an addiction. Like he's just digging and digging and digging. And again, you got to be respectful, as we all know, when we go to places like that, right? You have to be respectful. Yeah. So what happened was, once we ended, you see, and my goosebumps, oh my God, I can feel it. So when we ended the shoot on that day, we came, we all boarded the tonner, right? The 10 tonner or the 5 tonner, right? And suddenly he started getting very hysterical. We ended filming about 6:40, 6:45.
Right.
And especially as a Muslim, like, that period is what you call the golden hour, not just photography or for DP, right?
Yeah.
But the golden hour where that thing is about to, like, it's the opening of gates and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's that period. Like they always say, like during that period, you have to be extra careful, right? So before the Maghrib, we call it the Maghrib period. So he started sobbing, he started crying, and we were all like going up to him, me and my co-actors, and like, what's going on? He said, I keep hearing, like I can hear and I see things. I'm like, what do you see? There's this thing, it's just flying, it's following us. And none of us saw it, like, thank God. But he was like, help. So what I had to do was, when we alighted, he was still very hysterical. Me and one other actor. Now this guy is an atheist, so he obviously had, like, he was just trying to calm him down logically, right? But being a Muslim, I asked him to start reciting prayers with me. Like keep reciting prayers, and I was doing the azan, which is the call to prayers, which we believe is the antidote to some of these things when it happens, right? It pushes these things away. So I was doing that for him. I was like in the middle of azan. So everyone else was going up to the main area, the main building, the wardrobe, returning. Me, him, and this other guy was seated around, and I was just like saying these prayers out, and then I kept reciting a few prayers and all that. I asked him to follow me, and at first he couldn't, no? Like he just couldn't utter those words. But after a while, I think he calmed down and he could. And and then he felt ill after that, like for the next few days. So like we thank God, like we didn't see, like I didn't see anything, but just knowing that, and you can almost sense, like there's a sense that there's something wrong, on the way back. So you were saying, like, it's there. None of us dared to look, right? Yeah. But I just go like, and thankfully I didn't see anything. It's just him. This thing was following him. And then we realized like that where we were filming, there was some stuff there. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm sure there's stuff everywhere.
Yeah,
right?
stuff everywhere.
Stuff? What do you mean by stuff? Like cemetery? Was it a cemetery?
Entities?
Yeah. So I think there was like either an old cemetery there before or something like that. And there were already these entities going about. You know, I mean, it doesn't help. And then he was just digging it deeper and deeper, and in an almost disrespectful way.
Yeah.
And that's one of my pet peeves. Like, I am always of the belief, like, you should never disrespect these things. Like, you know, that's when it really like, hey, you know, let me show you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially
You know?
in those areas, right? And
What was he exactly doing that was very disrespectful? Was it like he just digging?
Yeah,
What-
he just continuously dig and dig and dig and dig.
Who told? Was there like someone from the production team say, "Hey, y'all don't dig
yeah,
too much"?
yeah. There was someone. I think one of the assistant director was saying like,
Saying like don't, because like supernatural lah. Like
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
be careful lah.
yeah, be careful. And even even for me, I said, hey, dude, like enough. I had another co-actor of mine also the same. Like, hey, dude, like you want to stop? And then we turned and he continued doing it. You know. But I don't know whether he was fully himself.
yeah,
That was the
because
other
it
question.
really does sound like
He
was,
sounds off.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah, it
you know what I
sounds
mean.
really
I immediately,
off.
when you were telling the story, I was like, okay, possessed. You know what I mean? My mind went straight to that.
Yeah, because I figured if he was the kind of guy who was just looking for trouble, you would have started with it as like, this actor is the kind of guy.
Yeah.
And then you were like, he just kept digging.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And he was very young. I mean, we were all very
Yeah.
young at that
Yeah.
time,
Right.
but he was even younger. So there's also the part where, you know, that's that rebelliousness or that, you
Yeah.
know, just
That
that playfulness,
recklessness.
the recklessness that played a part. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
But no production team actually helped you guys because y'all went out on the tunnel. Then it was just the tunnel was for all the actors.
And then, yes, for all the actors, and I think one of the assistant directors, the second AD, I think, was with us. And then we got other tunnels for the crew, and then the director has his own transport and all of that, right? Yeah. And on the same set, speaking of this filming set, right, the very same set, recently, I just met the producer for the shoot, one of the producers for the shoot, and he was sharing with us, one of our friends, one of our partners now, he was saying about how there was an experience. We didn't know about this, I didn't know about this, but apparently what happened was, on set, again, same place, Tekong, one of the crew members urinated, right? Like, picked a spot.
Forest lah, forest.
Without, Forest lah, just went to a spot and started to do the small business lah, right? Release himself. And then call on nature, right? And then when he walked back, all of a sudden, the generator stopped working. Completely stopped working. And then they thought, okay, this could be by chance, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
lah.
you
So they
think it's
brought
something-
another generator out. Couldn't work. Couldn't work for hours. So what they had to call was they had to call all the holy men from all the different faiths to come down and like recite lah, religious stuff and all that.
Yeah.
And then
crap.
and then only then was did the generator actually restart.
They had that on standby, or they had to bring them in from
Yeah.
They
the
brought
mainland.
them in, I think. If I got it
Mainland.
right. Yeah, recently. Yeah. Recently.
Wow.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
like recently we also had like the same set. And I don't think we're supposed to mention her name, right? Because she's a bit secretive about it, but she told us the story anyway. Makeup artist. Same shoot. It was a boys.
Yeah, she was the one that said, sorry.
No. She was talking about how like she and the other makeup artist were like in the
Oh.
bunker and they were the last
Oh
to
my
pack.
God,
And it was just
yes.
them. Everyone else had
Yes.
left. Literally, you know when they say have left the building, everyone had left the building. And they were the last and they were packing up on set and they had heard like the banging and banging and banging and banging and they called Leonard, remember?
Leonard,
They
yeah.
called the producer and they're like, someone's banging, someone's
Leonard,
banging.
okay.
Yeah. And they're like, and he's like, what are y'all talking about? What are y'all talking about? And she was telling us like, yeah. She said like definitely lah. That was definitely like an entity because it just wouldn't stop. Remember, and they
Yeah.
panicked and they insisted that one of the guys come up and then walk them down and
So this wasn't something I experienced, but it was told to us.
us. Yeah,
And so I think it was for a Vasantam shoot or something.
yeah.
And oh no, it wasn't. So it
People
was
chatting, I remember.
kept hearing people chatting. So they went to the audio post. They tried to clean up the sound, right? And then they heard a language, and they kept trying to like clean it, but it couldn't and it couldn't. So they kept listening and like, hey, no idea what this
A
was.
lady screaming for help in Tamil.
Yes,
that's
that
what it
was the
was.
story. So they
That-
ca- they
yes, so
called
it's
someone-
actually related.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
So there was someone, they called a person from Vasantam, I
Right.
think, to come over, or just a Tamil friend,
Yeah.
right? And the person put up, and then it's like, there you can see the expression
and
of
there
the
was
person's
even
face.
a story behind it, you know,
Yeah.
as to why it was.
I
but
think
the
the
thing is
lady was
that-
a victim of a violent crime.
Yeah, a victim of a violent crime.
Unit years ago.
Yes.
Years ago.
yes.
Wait,
But
so
the-
they found the backstory to it.
They did.
They did.
But the
my
thing is that we're not doing it any justice because
No, we're
both
not.
of us are remembering it
At
in
the
like
top of our head.
bits and pieces.
Yes.
3 to 4 years ago, was it Tanglin Hawk, the en bloc one, Tanglin Hawk?
It could be, you know.
Because
It
that's
could
the
be.
only one
I don't know.
en bloc HDB estate that
was
was
shot.
Not a lot of people shoot.
I think you might be right.
But
because
as
when you
we're
say
telling
that,
it, all the pieces are coming together.
Yes.
Except I don't really know like where it was, what shoot it was, right?
It was for a MediaCorp shoot
yes,
series.
They picked out the sound on
So
set.
somebody, an English one, and then was it Channel 8? I can't remember.
Yeah.
But so
You
then
see,
they
that's the thing,
listened
we're getting all the
to the
details
thing,
wrong.
and then there was this Indian person who said, "Guys,
help me.
Help
yeah,
me.
what she said? No, not just help me, get out,
Oh, really?
Get
out.
Oh, I don't know.
Get
I
out.
don't know.
get out."
That's
I think-
somehow far
In
worse.
Yeah.
So I presume they use one of the units to set it out as a house, then
Yes.
they shoot like the drama there. lah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
And
So,
then-
I
So
think
they
it's
got
the
that-
neighboring unit.
Oh my
You can pick up the sound.
God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can
and they
pick
were
up sound.
picking up. They were picking up all this voice that wasn't supposed to
my
be there.
God.
They didn't know whose it was, and then again, then in post, then it was some lady
Yeah.
in saying "help me" in Tamil, and then somehow the story was that she was a victim of a violent crime. That's what happened.
Yeah. Which was a sad
So they
story.
found the I
They
guess the
did
news
find
article
the
or something.
backstory.
Yes, they did. They did.
Oh, that's terrible.
Now we should go and find out, right? Yeah.
I think Tanglin. Oh, okay. I'm not sure. This
Yeah.
is not confirmed, but I think Tanglin Hot right now because the government did the SIRS thing, so en bloc, people move out, they got their
Yeah.
new house ready,
Yeah.
and then now they are repurposing it again. Some of it as rental units because I think there's like some scarcity in terms of
Okay.
rental house.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So, and it was abandoned for many years.
Oh my goodness.
And then because we are in the horror scene, so we have friends who go there and do like EVP
Yeah,
sessions,
yeah,
go
yeah.
and like all the horror YouTubers they went. And Vasantam actually shot a horror series there, which is one of our
Oh.
friends, Ravi and Rishita. Tingle Tales, Tingle Tales.
Yeah.
So it's like a you just go there and investigate, and they actually saw something. One of the hosts saw something.
Oh,
Yeah.
dear.
Like female spirit.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it kind of, I guess the spirits want us to link the dots, like macam we
Yeah, like
detective like that.
like hello, I'm here, right? Like
Because I can't remember whether it was this. I think it was a different story, but I still remember one of our guests was talking about like same thing where it's on for production and they could hear over the audio somebody else talking.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was the same. It's funny. I don't think it was the same incident. I think it was some other show,
Yeah.
some other recording at some other location.
I see.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like help me. It was more playful, like almost like hey, keep quiet or something like that.
yeah.
So I mean, talking about one creepy story, I want to share one. I think was told to me by a Chinese TV director.
Yeah.
And it was quite funny, but it's very creepy.
Yeah.
So I think this is his friend. I think he was directing a show, and he's known to be a very angry director. He has no
Yeah.
patience on, so he will scold
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
faster. He just want to do it. So I think they were shooting until quite late, overrun lah. Then OT already. Then he was shooting one of the last scene. Then he got fed up. He was like, "Hey, why this person is in the frame?" I said, "I don't need this person. Out, get out of the frame. I only need these two shots."
Yeah.
Then the DP blur the DP.
Yeah.
Oh, director, only two people only. What do you mean? No. See, you can't see the monitor. So they all gathered around the director's mon, and then they saw what he saw. There was a third person behind one of the actors.
Yeah. Okay, you see, so I've heard stuff like that before.
And then the
so-
AD is like,
in the monitor. Yeah.
Director, we don't have that actor there. Then the director suddenly like, okay, go home. Rap.
Of course.
Even
Of
the
course,
ghost,
it takes a ghost to make
the
you
ghost
go
is like,
home.
hey, your people OT are already like crazy already. Just let them go home. So the ghost appeared.
yeah.
Yeah, then I don't know what happened to the director after that, but
He became much nicer, I imagine.
I can imagine, right? He's like,
Yeah, he's-
okay, we need to wrap by.
Could y'all please, if everybody's okay, please.
My God.
yeah,
Scary stuff.
very scary.
All right. So how about you? Anything to share?
I have so much to share. We could sit here for the next week and I would not stop.
Wow.
Cassandra, please. We probably will have to stop you for after a while, but let's see how far this goes.
Okay. I'm just gonna start with one story. Although, like I said, I have 12 or 22. I don't know. So my husband and I, we moved into our apartment. You know, this is 2010, end of the year.
Yeah.
And as soon as we moved in, so okay, I want to tell you a little bit about my backstory, which is I am already clairvoyant. Okay, my mom has a third eye. My grandmothers on both sides have third eyes. So, and I remember I kept feeling a presence. Okay, so at that time I wasn't really, I mean, I'm a freelancer, right? So you're not going to an office all the time, right? So a lot of times you're working from home. And I remember every time my husband was away, I would always like, suddenly I'll see like, I'll see, all the time. And it wasn't like my eyesight or a window closing or anything. And I'd be like, that was definitely like, that really looked like someone walking by me, right? And I would always see it. And then when I wash dishes in the kitchen, I'm not even kidding, right? All of a sudden, I'll have this presence and it will start from like a meter behind me and then get closer. I'll get closer. I'll get closer. All of a sudden, I can see the shadow of whatever that was hovering as I'm at and as I'm speaking now, my goosebumps, right? And it would happen so much, okay? It would happen so much. And sometimes like just, I'm washing here and then right past me into the laundry room, out of the laundry, like just walking around the house, right? So I would tell my husband's very interesting. He's got the scariest ghost stories, but at the same time, like non-believer. I don't know how to describe it. So he's experienced like horror, like proper horror, like child ghosts when he was living in Maine and running around the house, playing with the TV and all. But when I kept telling him, I said, baby, I feel a presence. And I remember because I'm so in tune with it, I said, it doesn't feel like a harmful presence. But it is definitely a presence that wants me to know that it's here, right? So he'd be like, please lah. My architect husband, very cute. Maybe it could be, okay, if we look at this window, maybe this window in the day when it closes and then we have the pool downstairs and the reflection of the sunlight. And I'm like, of course, we're on the 9th floor. But you see, he's been doing this for so long. He's like, no, sometimes it can be this and the water and the shadow and the sun. And I'm like, no lah. I mean, like, why is the sun walking around the house all the time? I mean, why are the shadows, right? And it went on for years, by the way. It went on for years. And things missing. Okay, so I'm not talking about like, I lose things, right? But this was like, suddenly there's a mug and it's always in one place. And then it disappears, disappears. Oh, where did that mug go? Oh, it's not there. You know what I mean? Or a pair of shoes, we've had that happen. When my husband's like, where are my shoes? Where are my shoes? I didn't throw them away. What? I didn't. What? Like, oh, did you throw my shoes away? And I'm like, no, I didn't. So after a while, we started realizing like, things also randomly go missing in this house. You know what I mean? And it's like you cannot pinpoint. Even when you trace your steps and go like, no, wait, I was in the kitchen, and then before that I came from the office and blah blah. You're like, yeah, there's no reason why that's missing, right? So these little things were happening. The funniest story we have attached to it, but that was only like one incident where we had a Christmas party and everybody left, and usually we have about like 30 guests, right? And out of nowhere, men's slippers, like not my husband's size, like they're in the house, and we're like, whose slippers are these? Whose slippers are these? And my husband, he's so funny, he's like, we should call everyone who came and ask them. And I'm like, yes, because that's what people do. They come to your house for a party and they leave their slippers in the house and then they leave without it. You know what I mean? So we're like calling everyone like, hey, like, and we're taking pictures and we're showing people like, hey, did you leave? Like, were you drunk? Like, and everyone's like, no. Like, we checked with all the guests. Yeah. No one left those men's slippers in the house.
Oh my God.
Right? So that's really weird, right? So we fast forward to 20. So this is me living with like, the shadow, the movements, the suddenly hair stands on end, and it was happening to me a lot, right? Fast forward to 2017. My husband's still like, whatever lah, He was moving to Dubai. This was all, I don't think there are such things as coincidences. I think we were supposed to find out. Yeah. And he was like, okay, I'm going to go to Dubai, but I have to have my kopi and my, my toast and my egg and everything. So he goes downstairs. The cleaners from the condo come up to him. They're like, hey, aren't you so-and-so from unit, this unit number? And he's like, yeah. He's like, why? Right? He's like, it's so random, And they're like, oh, we're the cleaners at your condo. Oh, do you know the story? And he's like, what story? He's like, the man who lived in your condo before you. And he was like, no. It's like, oh, he jumped. And I know. And my husband, instead of freaking out about the ghost, he's freaking out about, oh my God, 7 years of not listening to her, of her telling me there's a presence. And then now I'm leaving for Dubai. She's going to be in the house alone. But he's like, you know what? For him, it's like, you have to know. You know what I mean? Because you've been seeing this. You've been experiencing this, right? And what happened was before that, I forgot the story before that. So we have a restroom. And it's like by like the hallway, the corridor, right?
Yeah.
And the mirror is, you can see the reflection of the hall, right?
Oh,
so
God.
one night I'm brushing, exactly out of a horror movie, brushing. And I just see this man casually walking, a full man figure casually. And I'm like, I see a man and he's walking. It's in the middle of the night. It's very late. The door is locked and we have like a latch, You know what I mean? So there's no breaking in, like, you would have had to hear someone breaking the door down or something. And so I go into the room and then I was like, I think there's a man in our house. I said, and if it's not, it's Casper, the friendly ghost. I said, because someone's in the house. So he gets up and then he starts looking around. He's like, baby, he's like, there's no one in the house. So the coffee shop thing actually happened the day after. So that's why he was even more freaked out. So he comes home, he's like, just so you know, he said, there were cleaners. The cleaners saw me at the coffee shop. He said, I know I'm leaving for Dubai. This is worst timing. Worst timing. He said, but there was a guy here and apparently he had committed suicide. The backstory was he was married to this horror story of a woman and it was him and his son and she was the stepmom and they had gone into like serious debt. And that morning he was going to sell their car, their Merc, and she was all about the money and she got like his son to drive the car to JB so he couldn't sell and he had to pay off the debt. Apparently there's some like big commotion early in the morning that day and he jumped.
And he was a good man, right?
Yeah.
That was the tragic part.
After that, we started talking to like people who knew him and they're like, oh, he was the nicest guy.
Oh, God.
He would give like the cleaners ang paos and the security guards loved him. I think he was a real estate agent. And so, I mean, he still lingers. Like, he's still very much present.
In your house,
Yeah, he's still very much present. When it was happening, it's interesting, right? Because I thought that I'd be more freaked out when I found out. But after I found out, I was less... You know what I mean?
Maybe it's because you know that the spirit that you're talking about is, it's not a devious one or it's not an insidious one, for lack of better term.
Yeah.
Right?
But I am very conflicted and I don't know which one of you might have. Now, the conversation will take a very serious turn right now because while I've been in this house, and forgive me, women, and no, this is not me being like out of this world.
Your house, you're talking about your house.
Yeah.
Oh, you used.
Still there. Right?
Okay.
I've also experienced, and I don't know if this is like, because I'm not, you know what I mean, which part is the brain playing tricks on you, which part is your imagination, which part is you being in deep sleep. But a couple of times in that house from 2010 till now, I have felt like assaulted while I was sleeping. Like,
Oh my God.
yeah. And in very, very, very different ways, where I actually think I'm in the act or...
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I've had like where I've gotten up and my whole blanket, and I get very cold. So I'm like and then the blanket is like, has been removed, you know what I mean? And then I feel like the bed, right? Like someone's just sat on it or lay on it. Sometimes even my pillow, and I'm like, what the fuck, right? And okay, this story might seem confusing because you're like, yeah, but your husband is. So it's happened more because my husband snores a lot. He snores a lot. So he, on his own will, right, decided he's going to sleep in the other room. So it's happened a bit more ever since he. So I'm like, I don't think it's the same ghost. I don't know, right? Because I'm thinking like 10 years of sort of, living with this presence and this presence being so harmless. But then also like you fast forward and I'm like, recently I have this, I'm starting to like, okay, wait, are things happening while I'm asleep? Like, and is that even a thing? Or is there a way to explain it in terms of like when we're in deep sleep, maybe this happens? Or maybe like some people are like, Cassandra, you're just having wet dreams. No. It's not. Trust me, it's not. You know, it's a very different. Yeah, it's like almost like, you know. Then sometimes you feel like you're being restrained. So
Shit.
yeah, so I've had that. I went up online to read it and read about it, right? And apparently there are people who've had like similar.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Have you heard about it?
Yep. It happens.
Does it just happen to women?
I mean, yeah.
Sadly, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, why are female ghosts more common than male ghosts? Because men do bad shit to women most of the time.
That's a good way.
That's a good
That's a good way of putting it.
one.
I mean, you
Yeah.
just ask the simple question, why are there so many kakats instead of abangs, right?
Right.
So, I mean, we take a step back.
Okay.
Have this thing that you just talked about is what? How many years? Like,
the one in my bedroom, or
yeah, in your bedroom.
I feel that it did happen from the start. So I don't know if there are two,
Oh,
you know, but it's happened more frequently and more obviously. Like it's almost like whatever this is, it's getting a little bit bolder.
have you tried communicating to it since you can see? Have you tried? I mean, I'm not offering you a solution. I'm
Yeah.
asking you, like, have you actually tried, like, talking to the thing?
You see, I've thought about it, but then there's also the fear of what am I going to open a door to?
Oh, that's a good point.
Interesting. So can I just confirm that when you talk to them, you open some sort of portal, or you kind of like have an invitation to that thing?
Yeah, I feel like, you know, like when you meet a stranger and then if you don't engage them, then you stay strangers. But the moment you have a conversation, then it's like, oh, now we're not strangers anymore. What? Now I
see.
get to have a conversation with you. So to me, that's my view on
I see.
like calling out and communicating.
Shit. So in your opinion, that you think that is two entities?
I do believe so, only because of what I heard about Peter, who's the. I love how I'm like now deciding like good ghosts and bad ghosts, right? Might be the same ghost, right? How
might
do I know?
be.
Maybe.
It might be. It might
Maybe
be.
Peter's like, oh, I'll behave in the day, but at night, Cassandra, I'm gonna get jiggy with you. You know what I mean? How would I know, right? How would I
Yeah.
know? Because it's not like I'm looking at that world. I mean, I feel like I definitely have had whatever it is between me and the other side. That portal was open a long time ago. You know what I mean? But can I say? And I'm sure, like you're thinking, maybe it could be. How would I know, right? It's like, oh, but this is still my house. You're lying in my bed where my wife used to lay.
Yeah. I mean, if you dig deep enough, right, you do find stories like that of SA from the supernatural, and yeah, I mean, yeah, like we said, like in this episode, spirits were from humans.
Yeah.
So if you are a bad human, then you do bad things as a spirit, which is, you know, uncommon, but also is bad lah. It's just
Yeah.
bad lah. I think. I mean, I'm not trying to like get involved, but I'm trying to say that if you think that it's true, maybe you should talk to your husband first, and then maybe you should leave the house. Because
Yeah.
if you're with this, I mean, from a perspective of like, if you mess around with negative energies long
Yeah.
enough, it does harm to you. Like even for us, like
Yeah.
we need to take a break every year from
Yeah.
horror because
course.
it does have some negative connotation to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
When you're doing it, so
Yep.
so it's
Yeah.
not very good to be in that space for too
Yeah.
long. And then it sucks. For the Chinese lah, they believe in it sucks your energy,
Yeah.
your life force actually.
Right.
Yeah,
Long
yeah,
enough,
right.
you keep sucking.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
matter how good or bad, even if the spirit is good, it still somehow is absorbing energy.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, if you
Yeah.
believe in that thing lah. Yeah.
No, I sorry,
Yeah, go
sorry.
for it.
No, I've heard of that. I mean, you know, like even in a Malay community or even in a Muslim community, like it's often said that that's the case. Like if you hover long enough, no matter how novel or how benevolent this thing is, it's not benevolent.
Because you're not
right?
supposed to coexist. Is
Yes,
that it?
you're not
You're
supposed to
different worlds
coexist.
for a reason.
Different
Yeah.
worlds, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so it's yeah, you know, it's a very
And the fact that my husband has not been on the receiving end, it does make you wonder, right? Clearly,
Yeah.
like somehow I was singled out. But you see, was I singled out because I've always had this gift?
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you can't say like the ghost went, hey, you're female, so it's gonna happen to you. But it's like, no, wait. I sense that you and I, like, there's a portal that has
Yeah.
been opened
Yeah.
between us, right? So,
Yeah.
but I think you're right. I mean, it may be something. But you know, it's interesting. For the most part, in the day, the sunlight, like, it feels like a very positive we love our apartment. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But
I'm sure.
I get what you're saying, right? Because if this is happening, the only reason why I brought this up during the conversation, right, is because the last experience I had was what felt very violent, because it was like about 3 weeks ago.
Oh my God.
And it felt like it was very real, you know. It felt like I was doing it with my husband. I'm not even kidding. It really felt like, oh wow, I'm actually having sex right now with my husband. That's how real it felt. Like there was a whole other human being. And the reason why I woke up, but now I'm thinking, was I just awake all along, right? You know what I mean? Is my hands were flipped to the sides of my bed, and it was like, pop! And then I got up. And it felt like the thing was done with me or whatever, you know what I mean?
Oh my God.
And then I got up and I was like, I swear to God, it felt like I had just had like sex, like proper sex with, like it felt like it was a real person, you know what I mean? So I'm like, so that is when I was like, and then do you remember I told you about it? And then he was like, you do know it's a spirit, right? We believe that it's actually a spirit. That's what you...
Yeah, much like Kyle, when he mentioned it, I've heard stories of this before.
Yeah.
And I said, like, my obvious solution is whatever
You
faith
said bless
you
the
have-
house,
Yeah, bless the house. You know, you being a Catholic, call
Yeah.
a priest.
Priest.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, just bless the house. That, I don't know how much that would help,
I
but...
have blessed a house. Okay, now it might get controversial because Catholics or Christians like, hello, if you bless a house, nothing's gonna happen. But I have, you know, and it still has occurred. But
I mean, my opinion, I'm agnostic,
Okay,
but
that's
I was
interesting.
raised Buddhist. But and because of my career as a horror creator,
Yeah.
I've seen all sorts of religion, and I do think that from the point of view of a religion, if there is something that's very tragic that happened there, and the energy that's left there is very, very strong,
I get it. Yes.
blessing won't work.
Yeah, you see, so that's
Unresolved,
why...
unresolved energy. I think he has some unresolved thing with his
Yeah.
wife or ex-wife or whatever.
Yeah, we heard it was the most acrimonious, like it was the
Yeah,
worst.
it's the worst, right?
Yeah.
So, and then, you know, there's a female energy there. Then there's a clairvoyant, you know. You add
Yeah.
2 and 2 together.
Actually, you're right. Now when you piece it together, it's like, why would this person...
I'm like the horror detective.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God, you're right.
Doctor,
That's true.
almost right. Because because
That's true.
now as you're saying it, I'm like, oh my God, Kyle is right. Like,
Yeah.
it could be like the intent to assault, right?
Yeah. Because like, 10 years already, nothing. Okay lah, let me try you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying that it's the same entity. It could be another entity that
Yeah.
follow you, but it's highly unlikely because it's your house.
Yes.
Yeah.
They need an invitation to be there. So all evidence points to what? But anyway, I think I mean, as a friend lah, my advice to you is really either try to
move
leave
up.
or try to get this settled, which I think is highly for this kind of thing, right? If you believe in the whole process of karma,
Yeah.
you cannot settle on.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not your problem.
yeah.
It's
'Cause
also
who am
not
I?
my problem because
Yeah.
I'm just telling you because you told me the story.
Yeah.
I cannot get involved. You also cannot get involved.
Of course, yeah.
You're just the person who owns the house after.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of thing is usually is move out. Even if
Yeah.
you link up with spiritual practitioners, they'll probably tell you the same thing. I think
Yeah.
you just move out.
Yeah.
And when you do, keep it quiet. Don't say a thing so that it doesn't follow you. Maybe
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
attached itself to you, then it's even worse. It
That's
makes it
the-
even worse.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
the...
Yeah.
We rented, but it's the same thing, right? I mean, it's rent owned. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
yeah.
Like,
So
'cause we're
you
the
hush, hush.
inhabitants.
No, so
yeah.
you hush. Like
Yeah.
you're like you don't even say in the house like
Yeah.
you're moving. You
Yeah.
just slowly move bit by bit because legit there was one of our previous guests, right? You sharing a story about a haunting at the house, and then Belle Chua, the actress. Remember she they got haunted by a ghost.
Okay.
So she was moving out,
Yeah.
and the practitioner said the same thing. Don't mention it in that house that you're moving out. If not, you will attach itself to you. So you just keep quiet lah. Just move lor, like slowly lah. Like you and your family have like an agreement not to say
Hush,
in the
hush,
house,
hush,
and
hush.
you move out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. That's as far as I can get involved.
No, I like I said, right? I honestly, I believe in signs and messages, and I
Yeah.
feel like this conversation was probably leading to the one thing that, to me, like I was always going to be like, you know, we're only renting the place, right? So we
Yeah.
can move. Like,
Yeah.
but now, like when you're saying it, I'm like, yeah, we just get on with it, move out.
Yeah. But I'm sorry that it happened to you.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that when you tell it to people, you're like, you're nuts.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like, I was even very skeptical about mentioning it on the show because I'm like, people are like, maybe you're just horny. Like, maybe like it's all been like one wet dream. But I'm like, no, you know the difference, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know if I'm dreaming about, and I know like with blankets and beds and pillows and movement and me being alone in the room and, you know.
But
That's different.
Yeah. But it is known to spirits can do that.
I'm
humans.
glad. I mean, because I know now that, you know, I'm not like nuts.
I mean, if you believe in the occult, then if this is very, how do I say it? Like if you believe in the whole idea of occult, then you can believe that they can actually hurt humans.
Yeah.
So why can't they do the same thing that they did as humans to other humans?
Right.
See? Right? If you believe in that whole line of logic, then it makes sense.
Yeah.
And there are stories out there. Strangely enough, actually, because I listen to a lot of horror podcasts, a lot is from America.
Yes.
From the US.
Yes.
Yeah. Poltergeist.
So when I read the reviews also, you realize like, you know.
A lot of Americans, right?
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
Americans.
Because the houses there are super old. Yeah, like it's like it's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but that's thanks for sharing. That's quite
I
quite a
thank you for
story.
sharing. I hope it wasn't too.
I hope you get. I hope it gets resolved.
Yeah.
I mean, I think now like I just have to, you know, take the steps to resolve it, right?
There was an encounter at a traffic light.
Oh my God, yeah. There was
You
once
should
when I was
share
just, I'm not even kidding, right? I'm standing like International Plaza. Is that the one at Tanjong Pagar? They
Yeah,
have
yeah.
like that junction with the traffic lights. And this lady just comes up to me. Her name was Ruby. I still remember her. And she's like, you're clairvoyant. You can see things, right? And I'm like, what?
What the hell?
What? Like, I'm not even kidding.
Is it because she can see your chakra or something?
Yeah, and then
right?
she said, "Oh no, I can see
the colours
that
and-
you can see, right?" She said, "Like, you know, you're in touch, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then I remember like she took my number and then she kept asking me to go for these. They have these like little get-togethers where these people like, you know, they'll talk about these things and crystals and all of that. She kept inviting me, but I never went. At that time, I didn't know if I was able to sort of like get into it. I still haven't though. But the one thing I've always had, and I remember the first time it happened to me was before my grandfather passed away. I had these 3 fine line scratches, right? And they were from my ankle all the way up my shin to my knee. 3 perfectly like fine line, like shh. And then my grandfather passed away, right? And then throughout the years, I get like scratches. I still have a little bit of one here. I don't know if you can see. I'm not sure if
Like a scar, lah. Like a
yeah,
scar.
like a scar,
yeah,
right? So
yeah.
sometimes, like, you know, like family members who know, they'll be like, "Is that one of your?" So usually it comes in 3s, and it'll happen like on my arms or whatever. And then when it happens, like someone will give me bad news. But it's always like perfect fine line scratches.
Shit.
And it's always like a premonition to. So with that, also people like, oh, you better pray. Why are things coming to you and like giving you signals, and why are they scratching your skin? And I'm like, I don't know. Am I supposed to be like this medium or, you know?
I think
I like how I immediately turned to him.
He's like, bro, this one, you get this one.
He
Guys,
always gets this one.
I need to set the record straight. I am by no means a medium or practitioner.
Disclaimer,
I'm just
disclaimer.
a guy who loves horror and the occult. I'm just very curious, okay?
Yeah.
Please don't look for me for spiritual advice. I'm only helping and talking to them about it because they are friends and they're on the show. Also for content.
Yeah.
But with my knowledge, I think there's 2 ways of looking at it, right? People with some form of supernatural abilities, like you can see the future, you can predict deja vu, that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's one way is, if you look at it, it's a karmic thing. That means someone high up in your ancestry did something to some practitioner and got cursed. And it's a curse kind of thing. So that could explain the trees thing. It could be the
Yeah.
entity that's marking you. Because he passed on, your grandfather no more, then pass on to you.
Does it hurt when you get it?
Yeah. I mean, like my
Is that
husband
scratch,
has seen.
Yeah.
My husband has seen, because he used to be like, no, maybe you're scratching yourself again, like you're scratching
Yeah.
yourself in the middle of the night, blah, blah, blah. But there was once we were in Dubai and it happened right before, I'm not even kidding. And I was like, and it was bleeding as it was happening.
Oh my God.
And I was like,
And he saw it?
Yeah, he saw it. So now he's like, he doesn't question. I was like, you do realize these are fresh, right?
You should have looked at him and went like, what architectural reason is there for
I
this?
love it.
Which window?
I love it.
I think the window,
Is this the sunlight? Is this the sunlight now?
the other way is, you could be right. It could be a chosen kind of thing. But the thing is that when if it's chosen, it's usually by direct lineage. So it's like your mom passed to you, your grandmother, mom. It's not the whole family. I mean that's the what I've heard lah.
Yeah.
From talking to all these people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it's really up to you. I believe that as humans we do have the choice.
Yeah.
I don't know what you need to do, but there is a choice.
Yeah.
I know people who also chosen from the Chinese side. So they are like this medium for this particular deity. If you don't do it, the god's going to punish you. Okay, I will take the punishment. But the punishment is damn severe. Like, I don't know, like one of the guys have to actually kneel down on this staircase towards a temple in somewhere in Malaysia to bring offerings. Because he don't want to become the deity, right?
Yeah.
So he have to do that every year. If he don't do it on the same day every year, something really bad will happen to him.
Yeah.
His life will get screwed up. And his life is not going great also. Because like, I think you defy the orders of the gods, essentially. So it could be that. I'm not sure. Or it could be a curse law. So you need to find out for yourself.
I don't know, because like going back to mentioning my family, right? Like I said, my dad, like when we were living in Ang Mo Kio as kids, he said like there was always the HANTU gala by the door. Which he always used to see. He always used to see. And he would tell the thing like, you know, leave me and my family alone. We mean no harm, you know. Like but he would talk about like seeing HANTU gala.
Specifically HANTU gala.
He I remember it was HANTU gala.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So for you, this is almost like, it's almost like just a natural part of your life, because like your dad, your grandparents and everything. So for you, it's just, it's not like it clearly is a big deal, but it doesn't feel like a big deal in that sense.
Yeah, I guess like if I was the first off, then it'd be I'd be like looking for a priest and an imam and like, you know, everyone. I'll get everyone involved, you know what I mean? I don't care what race or, you know, what religion. I'd be like, okay, all of you need to come together because someone needs to tell me what is going on here. But I think when you grow up and you hear it, like my mom, you know, like she was a nurse and she was working in Mount Alvernia, and hospitals are full of spirits. You know? And then she would talk about like, you know, like seeing like the dead nuns walking into a children's ward. You know what I mean? So it's you're kind of like, you know what I mean?
That's the worst, you know? Like when you see...
I like how he got tekong stories. Nuns, you know, nuns. That's the worst.
You know why? Because that's the worst. Because the figure that you seek comfort in, the religious figure, are the ones that are the anti. My God!
You see, going back to are they harmful? Probably not. They're probably just like the poor nuns that either used to work there and died.
No, but
right?
Yeah, but you it's fair for you to say, but if they are really that religious as nuns, shouldn't they be in heaven with God? Why are they still there? So that's the scary notion of it. Are they even humans? Or is it something sinister taking the form of nuns? Like, you know, the nun, the movie.
So that's like a whole...
He made it worse.
When I see it, I was like,
no,
they want not nun. They want something else.
See, so I've never even thought to question or go in that line of thought. If you know, in that train of thought, never.
Because in my mind, like if you are someone who is wholly a practitioner, you devoted your life towards your spirit, your religion. I believe that you should go to heaven, right?
Yeah.
At the very least, like you will go to heaven.
Yeah.
But if you're still earthbound, either you have done something really bad, or you are not even human to begin with.
But what about if the nun is just human and maybe they're just a few unresolved issues, like a normal, right? Does it have to be something evil?
Could be, but right. My first thought is the other way. Because you're a religious practitioner. It's like if I see a priest, but then he's a ghost. Yeah, like I'll be freaked out, man.
Yeah. But somehow I have to say, like the nun thing is quite like when you look at the imagery, right? Like when you think about it, you're like, oi. Like I take you in any other form, but not nuns. You know, it's like that's the scariest part.
Because you take something so nurturing and then you flip it. Holy, then you flip it.
Something that's supposed to be comforting to you.
Exactly.
But is it us flipping it? If you get what I'm trying to say,
fair.
Right? Fair. Is it us flipping it? Is it just really a harmless, poor soul of a nun, like roaming? You know?
Thank you. I was gonna say like I'm gonna do that as well. Like just kind of reel it back from being too freaky and go like, you know, they're all still human.
Yeah.
So. I would like to think that your reason makes more sense, where it is they also have their own personal unresolved issues, and that's why they're still here. Sure,
Right.
I would like to think that. I
Yeah.
would also like to state that this shows how great a collaborator Carl is, because I'm such a coward. If anybody else kept throwing this at me constantly, I cannot be around you right now. And yet
Yeah.
we're still working together happily.
Right.
Interesting.
Yes.
For me, is I will question anything that is not of this world.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I will not trust you. Serious, because they. I mean, other religious people also would say the same thing lah. Like you never believe what they say. They're out to trick
Right.
you, right? So
Yeah.
I will more likely not believe. Unless you turn into someone that I love and care about lah, then that one a bit hard for me to don't care lah.
Yeah.
If I see something that's not,
Yeah.
I'll just walk away. I never see. I don't care.
Because you know why? The Catholic schools also, right? I mean, my brothers went to, my brother and a few like, like cousins, husbands and all that, right? Like the old SJI, they would talk about like seeing like ghost nuns. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so
Creepy, yeah.
Yeah.
I seem
it's
to
a
be
bit
more
fresh.
freaked out about the nuns than everything we've talked about. He's like, hey, no ghost
That one I
nuns.
also scared lah. To
Oh,
be
you
honest,
also?
I was
Oh,
scared.
okay,
I mean,
okay.
if you see you're going out at night, then in the dark alley, suddenly you see a whole bunch of nuns walking. Like it's like in the middle of nowhere, they just
Okay.
turn up. Then you're like,
Okay,
Yeah.
Are you saying that nuns can't go out at night and have a good time?
we need the nuns to answer this. Hello, nuns. Nuns.
Maybe they're going out
Anyone?
for dinner.
Right.
in the middle of nowhere.
They found a
what?
shortcut to their favorite coffee shop.
Sure.
You
I mean,
know,
he's just lying to himself.
let me have this,
I know.
please.
Let me have
scary,
the,
right?
This
the
is
good
the-
nun ghost.
the coward-
Let me have
yes,
the good nun
area.
ghost.
Coward zone.
There's always a coward zone. But
Yes, okay.
But you're scared, right?
I'm with you, man.
Of course I'm scared.
Yeah.
Scary
If
nuns.
I see a group of anybody walking towards me in a dark alley, right?
Yeah.
Unless they're puppies.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Unless
that's
a group of puppies are like, oh. And even then I'll be like, why are you all here?
Yeah,
Right, yeah,
exactly.
actually that's
yeah.
Okay.
Are you scared? Of course I will be scared.
Of course.
Speaking of scared, right? I shift back the conversation to ghost stories. Okay.
Okay, we're not talking about ghost nuns anymore.
Yeah, we don't talk about ghosts. Right? I'm sure in the comments they also scared.
Yeah.
So
Slightly less terrifying ghosts.
Ice mentioned you were a police officer.
Yes,
in
that's
HTA,
right.
right?
So,
Okay.
police
So I share one story with you. My dad was also a police officer.
Ah, okay.
And he was serving in the with the Gurkha contingent at one point. Their camp was
so
side by side. It
cool.
was at Bidadari.
Yes.
That camp, yeah.
Yes. Oh my.
So he said
God.
that last time when they do sentry duty, it's only one police officer. This was like back in the I think 70s or 80s. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean last time lah.
Yeah,
Maybe
of course.
not enough manpower. Or I
Could
don't
be.
know lah.
Yeah, could be.
So he said that there was this particular basketball court near outside the camp near the cemetery
Yeah.
for some reason, and people say that sometimes when they do patrols, the sentry will end up standing in front of the basketball court for hours, only to be shaken by their sergeant in the morning. So they will be like in the days for hours. So my dad he's not 80s, but he just not scared of ghosts one. So there was one time he just left. I think he left his post. He went to look at the basketball court for like a very long time. He was like, "Oh, ghost, man? No ghost, ah? Where got ghost? No ghost, ah?" So nothing happened to him. Like seriously, nothing happened. But he was hearing tales from his bunkmates like, "Oh, got like flying head lah, got kakak lah. The basketball jumping is the head lah." Then people
yeah.
like even in the days lah. So yeah. So that what he had to live with. And imagine Bidadari just right in front of you at the cemetery.
And the fact that they were on duty alone, that is like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was quite dangerous actually.
Yeah.
70s Singapore is very different.
Oh my
right?
gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
you had a story with HTA?
Oh yes. Well, yeah. Okay, so I was lucky. Like to me, like I'm very lucky in the sense where I don't see or hear. Which to me, like I long may that continue because I have no desire of encountering any of these things.
No worries, I own the space.
That's true. Proudly give it to you. No, of course. But I remember one of the nights right before we POC pass out parade, and for some reason at 2:45 a.m. we were in the bunk, and my bunk is to the corner of the building.
Right.
And it is so weird because it hadn't happened for a long time, you know.
Right.
like for the 5 or 6 months we were there, I was in there because I was part of the National Day Parade contingent,
Right.
Guard of Honor. So we were in it additional months, right? Nothing happened. No? Suddenly, on the last week, I think 3 to 4 days to go, at 2:45 a.m., we heard marching of and then there's like the what do you call it? Our squad leader, the squad leader lah, saying pandang ke kanan pandang or whatever lah, hentak kaki cepat, hentak, and then like hentak, right? Then we all woke up, like in the bunk, we all woke up, right? We're like, shit, like 2:45, then we all fell asleep again lah. Then the next morning, the water parade, right? So water parade, right? So it's 5:30, we have to wake up because we have to do the stupid water parade. Then we went down and we asked the sergeant lah. We asked like, hey sergeant, was there a squad that actually had to march, kena punish or something at like 2:45 or I think 3? And the sergeant said lah, interesting you say that, because we went around to check and every one of the bunk in this place was like, everyone was in the bunk lah. Everyone was tucked in. And he implied that this tends to happen in that company when a batch is about to pass out.
Huh.
Yeah. It was 2:45 to 3 a.m. There was no reason why there would be marching.
Yeah.
There was no reason why there would be like, and in the middle of the night, you are told like, even if you're marching, keep your volumes down. This was full pelt, like hentak kaki cepat, hentak.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So, wow, I'm getting the...
You heard it lah.
I heard it. And
Your whole bang also heard lah.
yeah, we woke up one by one. We thought like, oh shit, did we just overslept?
Yeah.
Mampus we die.
Yeah.
But no, they were like 2:45. It's like 5 something or anything. Yeah. So that was one. Another one was a very, this is really quite something. This happened to me. So in National Service, you have this thing called the buddy system, right? We all know it.
Yeah.
So the buddy system is wherever you go, you must ensure that your buddy is there with you, right? For safety and security reasons and health or whatever.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So we have this habit, me and 2 other guys who sleeps across. This guy sleep beside me, the bed beside mine, and then the other guy across me. At any time, if we need to go to the toilet, no matter what, we wake each other up.
Yeah.
Not just our buddies, but we wake each other up. Let's go together.
Yeah.
But what was very interesting on that night was that this guy, for some reason, one of the guys woke me up, and this was my vision, by the way, woke me up. And usually we will wait, right? But this guy just started opening the door. He started walking. Okay?
Oh God.
So I was like, this is weird. Why is this guy? Usually we all wait for each other lah.
Yeah.
So I walk, and then the other guy across me, like walk right behind me lah. And I was like, hey, I was just talking to this guy. Hey, like I don't know what is this guy doing. So when I reached the toilet, this guy was already done at the urinal, and he washed his hands, and he walked out, which is very weird because we all wait. There's no rush. We all wait for each other lah. Even if you're sleepy, you stand out there, just wait for each other. Then I walk out, and I waited for this last guy, right? And so the first guy already, by the time we reached the bunk, he was already tucked in. He was already asleep. Like he was like slowly. And then when I stepped in, and then this guy stepped in, right? Where we woke up at 5:30 for the water parade, after the water parade and all that, where you drink up, and just make sure that everyone is, hydrated, everyone is accounted for, so we can go back to our bunk, right?
Yeah.
So until about 6:30, that's when you have to go for your flag raising, your national anthem, blah, blah, blah. So we were seated down for that 1 hour after we were done, like just chilling, right? All like groggy but awake already. So I said, like, I was the one that asked my friends, like, hey, dude, like, very funny. Like, what? Like yesterday, you didn't wait for us.
Yeah.
What's up, man? Like, like I thought you had stomach, but why? Then he just like, huh? What? And then the other guy walked to me also like, what are you talking about? I was like,
What?
yeah, I was like, huh? I said, no, like you walked out first.
As in you.
I walked out first apparently, followed by the guy who I thought walked out first, followed by the last guy. And I said, but no, I was talking to you. Like, while this guy is in front, I was talking to you. He said, huh? What are you talking about? By the time we reached, you already walked out.
Shit.
Shit.
And we
God.
each thought we were the last one. We each thought like the other guy. Then this guy was like, no, what are you talking about? You were the first. Then this guy was like, no, you were the first.
And this happened on the same night of
on the same
marching.
night. On the same, no, different
Okay,
night of
okay.
marching.
Oh my
But that was
God.
the one time. So I don't know we still don't know what this is. It happened only that one night. But my God, yeah, see, like it felt so real because I see the first guy walked in front of me, and the second guy I waited for him, and we walked. But for some reason he didn't reply. But I thought like, okay lah, he's tired or whatever. I was like, hey, what is this guy? You know what I mean? Like, and then the first guy said like, what are you talking about? You were the first to go in. And then this other guy said, no, what are you talking about? You were the first to go in. And we still don't know what it is still today.
Yeah, like what happened?
What happened? We all have very different recollection, but the funny thing is we all have the same recollection of the events. So you were the first and then you left by the time we walk in. And I thought, no, you were the first and you were and then, no, but by the time we walk in, and they were telling me, by the time we walked in, you were already tucked in. You already pulled up like that. Exactly the same motion that I saw this guy did.
It's creepy.
We have no idea what that is till today. Yeah. So it was that.
It's like a
that
multiverse, different dimensions, people walking it. I don't even know how to describe it.
That would be slightly less scary to me if it was like different dimensions.
Right. Like,
because
how do you
that
explain
friend
that?
of mine who slept beside me, the one who walked first, in my recollection, he was the one. He's in touch with these things.
Oh, okay.
So one of the things that he said could be like we were played around with lah. There was a very mischievous entity, not harmful, clearly, thank God, just mischievous.
Yeah, disturbing lah.
Disturbing lah.
Yeah.
Messing our, because it feels real. As I'm telling you, I can see him walk, and I see this guy. Exactly the corridor. I'm right there.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? But he recollects it a different way, different sequence, exactly same event. Each of us, all three of us.
This is he's scared of this one.
Yep.
Doppelgangers.
Oh.
It's a form of doppelganger. Yeah. It's playing with you. Your HTA, your bunk, right? Is it one of those bunks that facing the cemeteries?
No, thank God.
There's quite a few lah, right?
Yes. Ours is the Koi. So mine is Echo Koi, Echo Company, which is now the one on the F Company, Foxtrot. That is the one that I heard have a lot of stories, because that's I think the one that's facing the main highway, which then faces the cemetery.
Yeah.
So that one I haven't heard specifically what stories, but there were stories lah that I'm not aware of. Yeah.
I have a question for both of you. What the hell is Doppelganger's ghost?
So I will be the one to explain this.
Because this is the first. Is this your first of hearing Doppelganger ghost?
Yeah.
So doppelgangers are basically when you see either a double of yourself or a double of someone else. Doppelgangers appear in different kind of mythologies, but a lot of them say that if you see your doppelganger, if you see yourself, it could be broad daylight, it could be at night, but if you see like yourself on the street, it's an omen that something bad is about to happen to you.
Yeah.
So I've heard at least one story, and like this was an early episode of Ghost Maps that we did. So somebody told me the story about him coming back home one day,
Okay.
and he sees his brother in the living room, and the brother's just scowling at him, just angry, and he's like, "What's your problem?" And the brother just stares at him, doesn't say a thing. He's like, "Screw you lah! If you're gonna be this way, screw you lah!" Doesn't bother to talk to him. The brother goes into his room. This person's mum comes back later on, and he says, "What's my brother's problem? Why is he giving me attitude? I just came in and said, how are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing at home?" And the mum just looks at him and goes, "Your brother's not at home. Your brother's been in Pulau Ubin this whole time." So goes check the room, nobody's there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So is this when people see like their relative or whatever, and then next thing you know, the relative dies in a car accident? Is it like a premonition?
something like that.
It could be that. It could be that because they are not there. What? It's not them.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So it's
Is it the same thing?
Kind of, because it could be. There are certain spirits, right? Like their job is to mimic other people. To compute like that. What he experienced, something like that, to make fun of them. Then there's like a premonition kind of thing.
So it's two different things also lah.
Yeah,
right?
but it's still doppelgangers.
It's still doppelgangers.
That's the creepy part, because Yeah, I mean, I also have a lot of those, but the one that I saw, I think it was on the internet. It's also NS. This is creepy. It's the buddy system also. So I think this is Tekong. This guy, he basically needed to use the toilet. Not him. He was asleep. Then his buddy wake him up. Go to the toilet.
Go toilet.
Then it's the top bunk, bottom bunk, right? So I think he's on the bottom bunk, then the friend top bunk. Then he go down, then he go. So his friend go inside to do his business. I think it's number 2. So he's waiting out. Then he check, right? Then suddenly he feel like very long this guy. Like why so long? Like 15 minutes still not done. Then also at the same time, almost like the guy kind of realized that why this guy not talking anymore. So he thought to himself like, okay lah, maybe I take a peek. So he got
Not
a
a good
peek
idea. Fuck.
underneath the store. There was nobody, but the store is closed on.
God damn it.
So he knew already lah. What's up lah?
Yeah.
And then he said, "Hey bro, I go back I go back first. You very long I go back." Then the thing just said in his friend's voice, "You sure you want to go back, or you found out what I am?"
Wow, a full sentence. I thought like it was going to like, oh,
he straight away
even lagi more.
He straight away run. Then the moment he run back to his bunk, right, that's the scariest part. His friend is sleeping. So what the hell was that? Yeah. So that's creepy. Now when I read that, I was like, and I was just gonna enlist. I was like, oh shit. So I know all the tropes.
No pun
already.
intended.
I know pun intended.
That's
I was
true.
like, these tropes. I'm gonna like, yeah.
I want to ask about toilets. No, you go ahead.
Oh no, please, you're the guest.
Because like it's always the case where, again, right, going back to, is it just me, or is it a very frequent thing when you're in like a public room toilet and it's very late, and somehow like it feels like there's actually no one in that cubicle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you hear flushing and you're kind of like,
yeah.
like it doesn't feel, I don't know, I feel like it happens quite a bit with, I know Caldecott Hill, oh my god, right?
Yeah, that one different.
That one different.
That one different.
Yeah.
The energy there is different.
But
And
is it, I mean, asking the two of you, right? Because you all do this, toilets.
okay, if you believe in feng shui, toilet is usually the gathering of all the negative energy in the house.
Is it
In
because it's dirty?
Yes, because human waste. There is
That's why.
certain belief that entities feed on human waste. Any form of human.
So now it makes sense.
Anything you can think of that comes out from the human body, they can feed on it. Anything. So you let your imagination go and think. I don't want to be gross. Anything.
Yeah.
So that's like spit and vomit
Everything,
and,
yeah.
Everything.
That's why karaoke pubs, there's a lot of them.
Oh,
First of all,
course,
it's
of
dark.
course, yes.
Second of all, there's a lot of human waste, so they will feed on it. Hair also. So so that is one.
Even fingernails, right?
Yes.
There's a very and there's an entity who feeds only on fingernails.
Is Malay folklore, right?
Malay folklore. That's right.
This is why the moment I didn't know about this entity. The moment he told me about it, ever since I cut my nails, I used to like just take them and throw them in a bin. Now I just go straight to the toilet and flush them
Yes.
out.
Yes. You know, the thing is interesting that you said that. Sorry to cut.
No,
you
it's
in.
okay. It's okay. Yeah.
But one of my talking of NS, right? Luckily, it didn't happen to me because from young, my mom said, "Hey, beware of these things and all that." But one of my bunkmates, not bunkmates, squad mates. In police, we call it squad mates. A different bunk, 2 bunks away from mine.
Yeah.
Made the mistake of cutting his fingernails and just not doing anything about it, not cleaning it, and just dumping it outside sweeping it outside the bunk. Okay. What happened at night was that 2 of them woke up seeing something feeling on the fingernails. And these are 2 people that I know don't bullshit. These are 2 people who have no reason. They are just like you and me. Like they are not there to
Start trouble.
Start trouble or be ostentatious about things or try to make things up, right?
Yeah.
And that happened, and they were like he was really like he fell ill. One of my squad mates. So the fingernail things, like that's why like even till today when someone cuts their fingernails, right, and then just dump it anywhere or just freely, like I have this immediate search. I won't say a word, but I have like I wouldn't do that.
Oh my god, my husband has a habit of having his fingernails everywhere when he cuts them. Now I'm gonna go home and be like,
Yeah.
no, but I'm always cleaning, so it's fine.
That's true.
For me, toilets.
Right, toilets, right?
Okay, personally for me, this goes back to my general fear of the double. So generally, toilets are where your mirrors are, and public toilet, your home toilet. And I try not to stare directly into my reflection's eyes because it just creeps me out. I know it's me.
Yeah.
It just creeps me out. And what I've noticed also is a lot of toilets, like the lighting, whatever it is, even the best lit toilet,
Yeah.
still has a very creepy feel to it.
Yeah.
And then your imagination starts filling in everything else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, oh my god, the toilet just suddenly flushed by itself.
Yes.
And like I've heard stories about stuff happening in the toilet. And it
Yeah.
doesn't help that our previous office was just the most stereotypically creepy toilet,
Where is this?
Golden Mile.
office?
Golden Mile. So
Same building as Projector.
yes.
Yeah.
So we won't
Oh,
say which
yeah.
we won't say
I
which
don't like that
films.
building. I love the projector though.
Yeah.
I love the
Yeah.
projector. I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we would go into the toilet and it's just the most stereotypical creepy toilet. You walk
Yeah.
in and above one cubicle, the light is flickering.
Yeah.
And you're like, come on.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
So
yeah.
for me, it's I generally like I know what he said about like the human waste and everything. So that adds a whole, as
Yeah.
disgusting as it sounds, it adds a
Yeah.
whole extra layer. But I generally do not like going into toilets, especially public toilets.
Me too.
Interesting.
Me too.
Yeah.
And don't give me night lah. Nighttime I really hate
Oh yeah,
going to
that's
public toilets.
that's
Yeah.
an additional layer.
I've used a toilet. I mean, slight tangent. I have used a toilet in the most creepiest place you can imagine. I was on a job shooting documentary in Okinawa. And
I
this one
know. When he said Okinawa, I was like,
you know lah,
Yeah.
Okinawa World War II
Yep.
happened,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
yeah.
So we just the two of us, me and the client, we drove up to the mountain, and this is in the middle of nowhere. There's no even a cell phone signal, and it's pure darkness.
Yeah.
So on top of the mountain, I was doing a time lapse. Then I needed to use the toilet, and it was like kind of raining, like the small little raining, and it's like not even raining. It's like hailing a little bit, got a little bit of ice.
Oh man, the setting.
So there's a toilet. In the day, it looks beautiful, full
I'm
of
sure.
people. But at night, it looks creepy as hell. Guess what I did? I used the toilet. I just go, and my client, she's a female. She's like, "You want me to pay you?" I said, "No, it's weird lah." So I said, "You
Yeah.
wait at the camera." I
Yeah.
just walk to the toilet
Yeah.
and use it. Why? I tell you, it's like the scariest shit ever. I just sorry. I just on the flashlight. No lights even.
Oh my
On the
God.
flashlight, I just used, and
That
it
is
was
horrible.
It was
So
kind of
brave
like
you are.
approaching winter already.
Yeah.
So I just pee off. But luckily, the toilet is not a big one. It's a very small toilet. Like those BTO toilet, are very small one. You
Yeah.
just go in, then you do your business, then you out. So I did it very quickly. But that was one of the scariest. It's like, it's worse than NS. NS, you need to use the forest. I think it's
Yeah.
slightly better because you know that there's
Yeah.
people around.
Yeah.
I was alone.
Yeah.
She was like maybe a good 2-minute walk.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because it's a huge ass car park on the top of a mountain. It was hailing. Wow, the mood really set for me.
Of course.
Yeah, but the things we do for filmmaking.
Yeah.
Right.
It's true though.
Yeah, it's creepy. Yeah.
And when you're in that situation where you really have no choice, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To you, it's like, damn it, I have to. You know what I mean? Like you just go for it.
You just do only.
yeah.
But I feel like anything that has to do with late night and toilets, like get a buddy. Like I would have said okay to the opposite sex. Like I would have just been like, okay, like just come with me, like I don't care. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just get a buddy to like, you know.
That was my side lah. I mean, the
Yeah.
business owner like don't want to trouble the client lah. I just go Yeah.
So
But
professional, you.
I mean,
Yeah.
now knowing what I know now, that was before HANTU. But knowing what I know now,
there
I
you
think
go.
maybe I wouldn't even put myself in that
Yeah.
position.
No,
Or maybe I get
no.
someone to help me.
Yeah.
For me, I'll put it on a graph. So like, scary, really need to go.
Yeah.
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 Like how far up the graph does it go? It's like,
Yeah.
Is it scarier than how much I need to go? Then in that case, I'll just tahan.
Yes, I agree.
If I really need to go, I was like, well, if I
Yeah.
really need to go, I'm not going to be the only one suffering.
Yeah.
The ghost is going to have to deal with this as well.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, fine.
And the whole going to toilet thing, I think all of us at this table will know, like,
Yeah.
don't go peeing on a tree and in nature. Come on, dude. You're either going to die or you're going to fall sick.
Yeah.
When I went to NS,
Yeah.
my older brother didn't give me very much advice.
Was it deliberate?
Oh, of course it was deliberate. He gave me two pieces of advice. The first piece of advice was, maybe bring a Discman or a Walkman with you so you can listen to some music, but make sure you hide it after that so that, nobody steals.
Correct.
Okay, good advice.
Good
Okay,
advice.
Yeah.
That was the one piece of advice he gave me. The other piece of advice he gave me was, when you need to pee, if you're out in nature, just make sure you apologize first.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the more useful piece of advice he gave
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
So he's like, doesn't matter how many times you do it, just keep going, sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
the whole time you're doing it, just keep apologizing.
And I'm female, which means I'm not gonna whip it out and pee
Yeah.
on a tree. But even I know, don't do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're tempting fate, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like interesting you say that, because even for Muslims, right, we believe that the toilet is the dirtiest place.
Yeah.
And it's where all this evil entity resides.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the very same reason, anything
Yes.
that is fecal matter, anything that is blood,
Yes.
Yeah.
is not holy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
that
trees,
explains.
right? There's something about trees. Because my family, they used to, a large chunk of them grew up in Jalan Kayu.
Oh dear.
Yeah. And
I heard that place.
I never knew anything about sort of capturing like trees and trees being haunted. And apparently, like if you tie a chain around the tree, then you sort of like you've
Control.
controlled the ghost.
In a sense, like if you know what you're doing, it's essentially
Yeah.
black magic or voodoo lah, or
Yeah.
some sort of form of witchcraft. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so this whole chain around the tree thing, like I remember just hearing about it and being like, oh, okay. Never realized that was a thing, but you know what I mean?
But you see that across like so many different cultures as well. Like
Yep.
I always mispronounce it, even though I've used this ghost in my book. And he'll always correct me, Pa Jiao Gui.
What is that? Pachakuli?
Pa Jiao Gui. It's basically banana tree spirit.
Yeah.
It's very similar to Kaka. Very, very
So
similar.
you can control her by tying like a red ribbon, I believe, around the tree,
Right.
which
The
also
banana tree, yeah.
which also apparently
Yeah.
there's some red ribbon tying when it comes to Kaka as well,
Right.
And so there's always this weird connection between all the different cultures about like, the tree is where something resides and you have to
Right.
control it with tying
It's
around
true.
it. Yeah.
A relative of mine, he was running a bar in Sentosa, one of those ones by the beach. But now,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? So many of them changed. You don't know what it was called back then. And the staff, at the end of the night, when they're closing and all, like, a lot of sightings, like, they would actually talk about how they see, like, a woman in the tree. Like, it was just
Yeah.
like a thing. And I'm like, what
Yeah.
the fuck?
Sentosa
what I mean?
has a lot of things.
Can I-
Sentosa.
I can't remember whether I've told this story before, but since we're talking about Sentosa and since you were talking about Okinawa and since we were talking about the army, before Sentosa was Sentosa,
Yeah.
my aunt used to live there.
My dad used to live there, Pulau Belakang Mati.
Yes, correct. So my aunt used to stay there, and on certain nights she would wake up to the sound of marching.
Same story.
Same story, right?
British soldiers, right?
Oh no, the other side.
Japanese.
Yes.
Oh, dear
Yes.
Lord.
Both. I've heard both.
Yeah. So
That's even worse.
Yeah, she would wake up and she would hear tuk, 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 tuk. And it's not that far away. I mean, it's clearly a distance. And then she can hear somebody. And this was the part that freaked her out, because if it was English soldiers, she probably would have thought to herself like, "That's weird."
Yeah.
But she heard somebody barking orders in Japanese, and she was like, "Oh crap!"
I've
Yeah.
heard that. I've heard those stories as well. The Pulau
And the
Belakang Mati
energy
stories.
with all due respect, the energy that the Japanese soldiers came with
Right.
is already a negative,
Right.
after what they did
Yeah.
with the Chinese population,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is really freaky. And that area itself is known, Operation Sukching, right? Took place.
I think it's one of the areas.
One of the
I think
areas,
Changi
right?
is the most one lah. That's why Changi is Changi.
Oh,
ah.
Changi. My aunt used to live in Changi.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Changi.
The HDB flats.
No, so if you walk past Changi, on the way to Changi Village food area, on your right, you would see there's this like 3 or 4 stories walk-in apartment kind of thing.
Yes, yeah,
The
yeah,
black and white
yeah.
houses lah.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right. The white with the brown
Yeah.
roof, right? My aunt lived there with my cousins for a good 4 to 5 years. When I was a
Wow.
kid, I remembered going there. And they would tell me of stories. Eventually, it was in Russell Lee's, part of Singapore Ghost Stories, right?
Yeah.
But it was in the 4th floor. And they would tell us stories of how, like, in the middle of the night, my uncle, who used to be this, like, he was an engineer, like a interior designer, sorry. So sometimes he goes back late, right? Because he has meetings and all that.
Yeah.
And he has his red car, so he would drive, right? And many times he would have to stop because there were troops marching across the road. And it's not our wonderful
Yeah,
servicemen.
yeah.
It is British military servicemen.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
with rifles that only existed up till the 50s, if you know what I mean, the 1940s. You know, so that was a real, like, again, I'm getting all of this because I still remember as a kid, my cousin pointing, you know, there. You know what I mean? Like, but we didn't see anything, thank God. But like, they would tell us stories like, hey, that junction was where, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I read Russell Lee's Singapore Ghost Stories and he talked about it, I could picture in my head exactly
Right.
which zebra crossing at that time. There was
Yeah.
this zebra crossing. There's this traffic light. I know exactly where they're talking about because my aunt would tell us stories of that. But not when they came over to our house. You know, that's where they would tell stories of, it's like the whole theory of don't tell the story when you are in that area kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's that lah. So
Can I say I feel so much closer to you because throughout this entire episode you keep saying it didn't happen to me, thank God. which is always that's my life motto. It didn't happen
So
to me,
Kyle,
thank
is
God.
this
thank
like
God.
me and
Yes,
you?
I feel the same way.
Yep. This is where the line is drawn.
Okay.
The 38 parallel.
Yeah. I mean, I share that same connection with art also. You know,
Yeah.
art has the third eye and he's very spiritual. So we are more open to the idea of experience.
You become
lor.
so, you know. Like,
I mean, I don't want to say that I'm used to it. I guess it just happens. Then you just accept it lah. I mean, everything happens for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So long you don't come and harm me or my family, I think you're just there.
Yeah.
I don't really care.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it ties back to what you were saying, and we've said this so many times before. So it's a case of just be respectful, lah.
Yeah.
I think you being respectful will go a long way.
Yeah.
Don't challenge this. Don't
challenge it.
Don't challenge. Don't disrespect. Don't go into a zone. And one thing I also always think, Craig, like, you know, of course this thing was going to happen because you go to it's like someone going to your house and then just rummaging through your furniture, pushing and don't put the things back and then just leave. How would you feel, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So show respect, know where you are, but at the same time, in your heart, knowing that if you ever harm me or my loved ones for no reason, I will battle back. Not that I want to, but you know, that's my duty as a family person, as a human being, right?
It's the whole thing about like arriving at hotels also, right? You knock, like they say, don't move the Bible. You know what I mean? Like there are things that you just don't do.
There's rules lah.
there are
There's rules lah.
rules.
I think it's something that I think as Asians we abide very well.
Yes.
Like, in terms of
Yes.
like the occult and the
Yeah.
supernatural.
We do.
If you're non-Asian, then different story lah.
That's true.
Yeah.
They tend to
Yeah.
challenge it.
I mean, that's the thing. Funnily enough, all these rules, like the knocking at the door and everything, I didn't know about this until I met him.
Yeah. Now he knocked.
Now I knock. Now I knock loudly.
Oh, I need to say this. This is quite weird. That happened. I didn't tell you this also. So recently, a family member went into the hospital for a procedure, and then we had a room because it's insurance covered, so we got a pretty decent room at a private hospital in Singapore. I'm not going to name where lah, but in Singapore.
Yeah.
So when we were checking into the room, we had like a concierge, right? And the concierge said, "Oh, this is your room, blah 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 blah."
Yeah.
You know what she did? She knocked. I was like.
Interesting. Good.
Immediately, my horror sense was like, "Whoa, what happened here?" She was like, "Cock, cock, cock." And she pressed the door, then it opens. Then it's a double door because it's technically a isolation unit.
Oh, okay.
So and then so I was a bit weirded out lah. I kept thinking like, what the hell happened here? But she knocked. Like, I mean, if it's hotels, I get it lah. But like hospitals, whoa. Yeah.
I mean, hospitals,
No, I don't like hospitals. I think they're worse than hotels.
Yeah.
Much worse. I mean, the frontline workers, definitely they are doing God's works, but it's a place that I would never want to visit willingly if I have a choice. It's the negative energy.
But you see, like with visitors, right? We have the freedom of like we walk in and we walk out. You know, like with my mom, who's a nurse, and all her, you know, because you're there for years, and God knows how many deaths, and not all the deaths are like, oh, a grandmother old, then died, then all the family around. No.
Tragic.
A lot are like really bad. You know, I mean, it was unexpected, or the person suffered so much, and you know, and hospitals also, like you have, for example, mothers who, you know, they die during childbirth. Okay, I mean, it's still, we know what that is, right? And then you get them like I remember my mom would tell us a story about how like all of a sudden like you hear like one baby cry, and then all of a sudden like all, and then they know already. They know that's like you know what it is lah. Like, you know what I mean? Like just waking the babies up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's scary lah, hospitals.
Yeah.
I don't know how like they do it. Like especially like the night shift nurses. I'm like, how the hell y'all have to take lifts lah, use the toilet lah, go to this ward, walk around when everyone's asleep. Like
It's the frontline workers though. Like even for the police force is
yes.
like, you done night shifts, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And night shifts, a lot of weird things do happen.
Man, I mean,
Weird
there's-
calls lah.
Yeah, I mean, one of the offices where I served,
Yeah.
for reservists, it was a different station than my
Yeah.
national service years. But when we was reservists, I served in another station, police station, and one of the guy had the third eye lah. So what was interesting was someone saw another person, the same thing, the doppelganger thing.
Oh God.
Doppelganger on the third level where the armory is, the third level corridor. And then this guy said, wait, but didn't I just what? And then this abang lah was like, not here, not now. And it was I think it was a Thursday night. I think I might be wrong.
And it was late lah.
It was late. It was my night shift. I heard of this story. I wasn't there, but I heard of this story because I went to that station to hand over some stuff. That's where they say, you know, this was what happened earlier.
Oh my god.
Yeah, at the police station. But that thing was dressed in exactly the same uniform. Like that's the thing, a police uniform, no?
Yep.
With the revolver and the handcuff and all. So it really looked, to this person, it really looked like this was the actual human being. Like
Someone
the
he know
person.
lah. But never answer lah. He asked, then he never answer.
Just walk.
Just walk away lah. Then don't follow lah. Don't care lah.
Yeah.
No lah. But bodoh lah.
Leave it.
Yeah.
Mental images going in my mind now. Like,
Right.
Before we move on to the next question, right?
Yeah.
It's about found films lah. But I want to share one story just to freak him
Oh,
out.
please do.
Police one. This one you heard already. Is I think my brother-in-law's friend who served in the force in the 90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in the 90s, Singapore was a lot quieter, right?
Yeah.
So I think they were doing the night shift, and I think they were in a petrol car
Yeah.
with at Lorong Halus area. So the area is I think at that point is industrial and it's very, very quiet. So they were parked down there. I think they were doing some report or something after a case.
Yeah.
Then they saw in the petrol car, they saw there was one person that was like loitering around. Then, of course, late at night, 3 a.m., confirm screen. So they go in, they walk, and then they ask, Mister, do you have identification? What are you doing here? Then they take. So, I think my brother-in-law's friend, he was the one who called it in. I think then his senior, I think a sergeant, was getting the IC. So he took the IC and passed it to my brother-in-law's friend.
screen.
Then he was calling the screen. Then while I think the sergeant was like talking to the person, and the person was a bit like off, like never really talk one, like a bit quiet, like one word respond kind. After that, right, the dispatch was like, "Can you confirm the IC number?" Yes, is this blah 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 this IC number? Okay, but this IC number is already deceased. This person is deceased already.
Oh dear.
So what are you doing with the deceased IC? Then when he turned back, the sergeant is still talking to the person. He told the sergeant, "Come on, we go to the car first. I'll tell you something." And he told the sergeant, and he was like telling the sergeant was like, "What the hell?" And when they turned back, the guy was gone.
Hey!
Gone.
Was the IC still in your hand?
Yes.
oh,
They immediately drove damn fast back to the station
Of course.
and put back the IC, put into evidence locker or something. I think they wanted nothing to do with the IC. Yeah, freaked out. So that's why I say like frontline workers are thankless job, because the things that you see, the things that you experience, not just the supernatural, is
Yeah.
Yeah.
next level.
It's true. It's very true. Especially the night shifts.
The night shifts.
Yeah.
That's the killer.
You know, another group of people, radio DJs, ask them when they're on night shift.
Yeah.
I
All
feel
the
like
stories.
I feel like you might have one. Do you?
I used to do the night shift, not night shift, like the latest time
Right.
belt, Caldecott Hill. But interestingly enough, I don't know how come in Caldecott Hill I was one of the lucky ones, right?
Never
But,
kena lah.
Oh my
but
god.
I know I would feel can feel like the shadow, the presence, and like while you're on air, like can feel like a presence behind you, But I was one of those that I didn't.
Never
But
kena
others
lah.
have, yeah. But I mean, the presence alone, you know lah.
know lah.
Oh,
You
can sense, you
something
can
is
feel.
there and it's
Yeah,
standing
yeah.
right there and
Of
it
course.
hasn't left and you're alone in the conti and you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can feel it. Yeah.
I went there as a student for like I think it was an industry trip.
Yeah.
So we went there to look at the sets and all. And I remember going to the radio tower. It doesn't make sense that you call yourself a radio tower, but some of the radio station is under the basement.
Yes.
Which is weird,
Yes.
right? And then when I was like, immediately I went out, and this was before I did horror. I was like, it's a bit creepy, no? Why are they down here? Why are they on top?
Yeah.
Was there a reason why?
I don't know.
So the basement ones, I was always like, thank God, because we were like 938. So ours was like on the ground floor and we had
Yeah.
like glass, right? But when I went downstairs to like, I'm like, how?
Is
do
there a
you
reason
guys
why they
do
place
this?
it there?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Must ask the architect husband.
I think it was one of the 897, is it? One of
97.
the yeah.
97.
Yeah, it's one of the
'Cause I'm like,
bigger
how
channels.
the hell? Like I'm doing my late shift like upstairs with glass and it's ground floor. How do you guys do it in the basement?
And then they need to go toilet. They need to leave the conti.
Yes.
And the toilet is at the
they
long
need
corridor
to leave
one.
the conti.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the
That
worst.
old.
Yeah. No, I last year when I did a shoot, I flew a drone, so I saw no more already, completely flattened, gone, ready for GCBs. But the big trees is still around.
Oh, okay. lah.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
at least they have a place to linger.
No, we talked about this, like, right? If you have the money to buy a GCB there, you have the money to buy the most powerful spiritual practitioner or like a whole bunch of them to cleanse.
Every protective layer possible.
But even then,
Yeah,
I
even
think
then.
hard.
Yeah.
I
think
agree.
hard.
I
Why
agree.
would you buy a house there? You know, it's all I'm saying. Why? If you can afford there, you can afford
if
anywhere.
you can afford it, I think you probably might. I mean, if you can afford a house there, come on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I know I say it's the last story.
Okay.
But because of his past as a police officer.
Yeah, please.
When early days of HANTU, we were doing we shoot a little bit of creepy visuals to accompany our podcast. So I always did it with a team. And I brought one guy who is like spiritually strong. So he knows how to settle if there's possession. Then I brought a camera woman. Then the three of us, we went down to Mount Pleasant Road. So that place is known to be very
The old
haunted.
PA lah. Old Police Academy.
Near, just before. Then it's right beside Bukit Brown. So we're
Bukit
just
Brown.
filming the road. And this was like 12 a.m. The police came. Straight kena screen. But the funny thing is not when they screen us. It's when the sergeant, right, he had a comment for me. He said, so what you're doing? Oh, I'm doing for some YouTube channel. Oh, YouTube do horror. Oh, horror here straight away here. He said, young man, I around this area 20 years already. I tell you this area not very good. You leave earlier, okay?
Yeah.
I say, why?
That's good
So
advice.
I try to challenge him, why? And then he say, I tell you already not good. Then I say, why? HANTU. Then he's like, not good already, tell you already. Because they cannot say it's
You
ghost.
cannot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't. As a police officer, you cannot.
cannot.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I say, but then you see all the black and white houses? He say, yeah, but black and white houses, Angmo stay what? Angmo where got scared of this kind of thing? Then I like,
Yeah, it's true.
it's true. Okay, I'll leave soon. But the way he say it's like very fatherly. This place not good. Not good.
Especially the old timer.
They know.
Right.
Police
They know.
officers. Yeah. They have that.
Then the NS boy said something that pissed my camera woman off. Then his young Chinese boy, he said, yeah, then you bring girl here some more. because if you believe in the supernatural, apparently women, they attract more ghosts.
Especially when they're bleeding.
I mean, whatever.
That's what I was.
That's what you heard. Yeah. That's what you heard, lah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I didn't ask my camera, yeah, you bleeding or not? But I've heard of that notion, lah.
Yeah.
Then my camera was like, oh, if he's not police, I can't scold him, man. That's like, it's okay. Just leave it. Yeah.
Your cameraman was like, there are things that you should be more scared of down here.
I know, right?
I should be the. Yeah.
This line of questioning, we'll see how scared you are.
When my husband was a young man, he was, he was.
I like how he immediately went, oh no.
Yeah. So you know how they move out and then, like they stay with like their housemates and everything.
Yeah.
So he was staying in this big house in Maine. And the only reason why he could afford it was because at that time, young designer, architect, he was helping do all the fixtures and the painting and everything. So apparently it was a very old, very big house. So he's there, he's living with his girlfriend, and they would start to hear things like, okay, so it was like 3 floors or something. And the top floor was rented by this woman and her cat. Okay, she had a cat and, you know, she was young also. I think they were all like younger people, all just renting the house. And one night, his girlfriend and him were... And he said there were so many things that were happening in that house. They heard like the cat, right? Like... Can hear the cat running up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. So he said, he's fine, right, guy? Like, he said, like, he's chilling and all. Then the girlfriend's like, you know, like, tell her to, like, stop. You know what I mean? Like, we want to sleep. It was late at night. And then they kept hearing, like, the cat running up and down. And then apparently girlfriend took the broom, started hitting the ceiling with the broom. According to my husband, a lot of vulgarities were yelled, like, hey, if you don't, you know, like, we're going to come up there, blah, 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 right? And then it stopped. After that, TV, you know, at that time, back in the day, I love how, like, I'm aging myself now, you know, the static, like the
Yes.
I get
Yes.
Yeah.
So after that, like, you know what I mean? First your cat, now you're just like playing with the TV. What the hell are you doing? People are trying to sleep here, right? So his girlfriend is like, let's go up and just like, you know, tell her like stop. And also they bang, 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 bang on the door. No one answers it, right? And like, okay, you better stop, blah, blah, blah. The TV thing stopped also after they went upstairs. So they went back down to their room, okay? So he said the next morning, they're sitting down, they're having breakfast, and the car pulls up of the tenant, right?
Oh, no.
She's stepping out of the car with her cat. And she's walking into the house, right? And the girlfriend and him are like, he's like, hey? Like, walk up to her. Hey, you know, like, where were you? Did you just go for a drive and all? She says, no, I've been God knows where for the last 3 days. I'm just coming back today. So he's like, okay, what's going on now lah, you know? And then he sees, okay, so that's one incident, right? I can't go through all of it. Washing dishes at night. So you know how like these houses, the light from outside, you're washing the dishes. Suddenly, boom, head. Tiny little head popping up, right? Yeah. But can only see it through like the curtain. So it's like the shadow, right? Like tiny little head. So he's like, fuck. Oops, sorry, I swore.
It's okay.
Runs out of the house, looks everywhere, nothing to be seen, right?
Oh
and he said that time, like during that time, his brother was staying with him. So he thought, is Kevin just like mucking around and all that? But no, the brother was actually out at night, whatever, right? So then the final was his college mate had come to, he knows the story, had come to stay, okay? And this is not even made up for theatrics or whatever, right? No. Sleeping in another room, okay? This guy is cuddled up at night, he's sleeping, they had a ceiling fan, right? And suddenly the guy feels like he's woken up by something, okay? Young little girl sitting on the fan looking down, okay? Just looking.
Like spinning while
like
spinning.
Spinning. And
Shit.
he has a clear vision of this little girl. I love when it's like, can we stop? Is it like, can we cut?
Yeah.
Can we cut? Because we're all film people. So
Wait till you hear what's coming next.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
great.
Let's go.
Oh, great.
Let's go.
Ceiling fan, right? So his friend is like, pulls the blanket over himself. You know how like you do that and you're like, okay, it's going to be done,
Same.
right?
Same.
Of course,
Yes.
right? Like now, like whatever it is, it's going to disappear. Pulls down, girl is in his face. No, I'm not even kidding.
Like it was a creepy or haha that kind.
No. It was like a, like a, but
Like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Ooh, damn.
Yeah. So after that, I don't know how long after they moved out or whatever, right? According to my husband, it was an orphanage, and I think that young girl died in that home, and she was just a very, very, very mischievous ghost lah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
So
it
she
wa-
thought she was playing with everybody. So the cat, they said the cat and... Oh, and then the housemate, like the one that rented the room upstairs, she would always ask them like, are y'all like coming in my room and messing things up? Are y'all like deliberately like moving things around the toilet and putting the toilet seat up and moving my stuff around? They're like, we never go into your room. But funny that she never had any like complaints. You know what I mean?
Because she has a cat.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, depending on your beliefs, like the Egyptians believe that the cats are the guardians of the underworld.
I've got 7.
Yeah. What, really?
Yes, at home. Not by choice.
Nice comedic timing. But
Oh, so is that why? Because I always wondered, like, okay, you were getting disturbed, your friend gets disturbed, but the one with the cat doesn't get disturbed?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, like, because things were only happening when she wasn't around, right? Clearly.
yeah lah. They did disturb her lah, like her stuff lah.
Oh, yeah.
But it didn't
okay.
move.
Yes.
Maybe because there was a cat. I think you might need to ask her lah if they are still in contact, like if the cat was acting weird or not. Because if cats or animals act weird, like they are growling at the door, or they're like staring into space, there's nothing, then yeah, it's probably something lah. So, but I mean, animals,
But they have this repelling power, right?
Yeah,
they
I
repel
believe so.
these forces.
Yeah,
Cats.
cats.
I know you said that you wouldn't do horror.
Nope, never.
Would FoundFilms ever make a horror short?
No.
I would write a horror. I would write a horror.
I would be no part of that.
Yeah, but I'm not like the crawl out of the TV. But
Yeah.
I would make a short based on my experiences. Because to me, like he knows that also. I always say like I write from a place of truth, and I love writing based on either my own experiences or of the people around me.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So I would, yeah.
Okay.
So would you do a feature film, a horror feature film?
Yeah.
Wow, if I had the resources, yeah.
Because it's
would.
it's in the craze right now lah. Horror people like doing. Netflix has been releasing a lot of horror
Right.
features from Indonesia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those
right.
are the brutal ones, right?
Yeah.
Indonesia, Thailand.
Right.
I mean, we're all here on camera. This is going up on the internet. So if anybody's interested, say.
Let us know. We will. I mean, I would. I mean, I can't speak for you, right? But I would definitely be more than happy to write. Yeah.
That's a start. That's a
feature,
start.
yeah, right.
I was
right.
like,
Would you act in a horror film?
No, right?
never.
No.
I was lucky enough that I was cast in one years ago. And it was a very tricky because the role, it wasn't like a straight out horror, like it was a psychological, but yet there's also horror kind of thing. And I was deliberating whether I should or shouldn't. And thank God I had the excuse of reservist because it clashed. So I never had to make that decision. But
Yeah.
honestly, like me and one of my fellow actor, I mean, I'm sure he doesn't mind me saying it, Joshua Tan, the actor from Our Boys Men, we made a vow that we would never touch because he is even more squeamish than I am, by the way. Because I think like being in an Asian household, you've heard of stories, people who have experienced things like that.
Yeah.
So
Although I
don't
feel
see.
like that the writing of that film might not end up being the feature. I feel like if I were to go in that direction, I might open up a whole side of myself. The same way like Jennifer Love Hewitt when she acted in The Ghost Whisperer, and then you've got the one from Conjuring where she suddenly Vera Farmiga, right? And I think like because I'm already so in touch, if I started writing, it might turn into my story as like what happened to me as I was writing. You know what I mean? Because I think I would have. Yeah, I think like as the writer, I might open up all these other portals, right? And then it would be like, oh, as I was writing the film or the script, these are all the other things that started happening.
See, that's the thing. I like. You've made it clear from the start you're never going to act in horror.
Yeah.
But I was surprised actually that you said yes, that you would do it because you're clairvoyant, because you have all these experiences. Like,
But you know what it is about writing though? You put your pain and your fear on paper. So there's something about I take it out of my being and I put it into something else. So for me, I would do it from that perspective.
Yeah.
Not like, hey, because now I'm in touch, guys, let's all do this together. No, not that. Yeah.
this is a solo project. There's no co-writers.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You mentioned the actress from The Conjuring. What happened to her? Oh, I don't know about the story.
Oh, okay. So the thing about Vera Farmiga, I mean, I'm sure you can add to it, but she was talking about how she was reading her script in the hotel room on the laptop. Yes, she turned because I think there was room service or something. She went to the door. When she came back, there was a scratch across her iPad.
Yeah.
On the screen of the iPad on that scene. Yeah, and then she talked about how the scratches, the whole scratches thing.
Yeah.
She woke up. Then her husband, she was screaming. She was screaming. correct me if I'm wrong, guys. You might know this better. But like she jumped out and then she realized when she woke up, like she had scratches on her arms across her back and body.
Hey, so that's an interesting thing, right? Because hers was literally, there was harm for the first time being done. She was new to this.
No,
And
I
then-
think it was the second or third one as
No,
well.
but
She
what I'm
kept-
saying is like for me, it's like years of this recurring, but the scratches are more like a premonition of, so like there are different types of scratches.
guess
I don't know, right?
I mean, I guess it I don't know for sure, but it could
Yeah.
be seen as like a warning for her, like, don't
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we are watching you,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Or it might not even be a warning. It's just to let you know
Yeah.
we're watching you.
Yeah.
Because like we've had like
Yeah.
moments like that before where we get the sense that, you know, we're being told we know what you do. Okay. I
Yeah.
just want to let you know we know what you do.
Yeah.
You just better be respectful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we've had instances like that. So it might be that the scratches, you know, it's similar to a premonition, but almost like a not even a word of warning, but just a word
Yeah.
of caution. Like
Yeah, like we're here lah.
yeah, if you're doing this, just to let you know,
Yeah.
we know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Good luck. Be respectful.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how he's checking it right now. He's like, oh my god, I have to
Sorry.
No, but it's fair. Eh?
Cinema Blend.
Yeah.
She has experienced some crazy paranormal activity thanks to The Conjuring.
Vera Farmiga, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Good god.
Yeah.
Okay, but to be fair, she's playing
What's her name?
The Warrens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lorraine Warren.
Lorraine
Lorraine Warren.
Yes.
She's
Lorraine
playing.
Warren. Yeah.
And they are famous demonologists.
Yes.
So we are not talking about your run-of-the-mill spirits. We're talking
My
about
God.
demons. So
Yeah.
that one,
That's crazy.
and I think they were doing Annabelle, right? And
Yes.
they were there's the occult museum. With I don't know why you put everything there together. Sibei jialat.
Right.
Yeah,
That's just
boy.
It just
Why?
doesn't
It's
seem...
either the most genius idea or the most dumbest idea. You can view it from both because all evil put together, lor. Let them
Yeah.
fight among themselves.
Yeah.
Or we just put them together and put a simple lock on it. What could happen?
I'm sure it'll be fine.
What
I'm
could
sure
happen
it'll
if
be
it's
fine.
unleashed to
and
the
it
world?
does make you
Oh my
wonder,
God.
right? Because you do realize that it's not like a full physical human body, right? So what is a lock?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know,
Which
Yeah.
I think is the most
there is no
frightening-
door for them to break through.
Which is the most frightening bit, because I was just saying this earlier today as well. Like, what really is the creepiest bit is that they don't live by the human rules. They don't
Yeah.
live by the boundaries that we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
There's no
You know?
boundaries.
There's no
Yeah.
boundaries.
Yeah.
We don't know what we are dealing with.
But
Yeah.
clearly,
You know?
through history, we've heard that you can contain right?
Yeah.
Apparently, so you see, that's the thing, right? On the one hand,
Yeah.
they're floating, they're flying, they're this, they're that, they're appearing, they're disappearing. Then on the other hand, like, no, you can contain them all in a room. It's possible, you know what I mean? And you're like,
Yeah.
how does that
think,
work?
Yeah, I think the containing probably, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think
Yeah.
the containing in terms of the physical space is less to do with the physical space and more to do with whatever incantations or
Yes,
whatever.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So, you know,
yeah.
I almost feel like that physical space is there to make us feel better.
Yeah.
But like whatever it is they did to contain them, that's beyond our own
Yeah.
understanding or capabilities for most of
Yeah.
us. So
Yeah. I mean, speaking of Conjuring, right? We always ask this question
I love his segues.
to all our guests. What are your favorite horror movies, books, comics, video games, or TV show? Any
Yeah.
horror.
The one that is like my ultimate favorite, and everyone's going to be expecting something that is so out there, right? But I watched this film once and I refused to watch it again, and I have not. The Sixth Sense.
Okay.
And I think it's because it's very like similar to what I go through, where you suddenly see the shadow going past, or suddenly there's a person standing there in the kitchen. You know what I mean?
That was horrible.
So for me, The Sixth Sense is right up there.
Yeah.
Because it's real to you.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
feels very real, you know. The other one, I barely remember it, but I remember thinking that scared the bejesus out of me was Poltergeist. Right? The first one, right?
Yeah.
I somehow remember the old man
Yeah.
walking outside the house and her watching TV. Like all of that sticks with me, you know. Wow, I have to think about. I mean, Conjuring has always been like right up there, like in terms of, you know, the house, the ghost hanging on the tree, was it a nun or a helper in the basement?
I
Like
can't.
Lauren
The nun,
Warren
the
would
nun,
see her,
the nun,
right?
the nun.
Yeah.
There were quite a few ghosts. Yeah.
Cupboard clap.
Oh my god.
I think that was the nun.
Oh.
That was the nun.
There was a nun, right?
The
yeah.
clap, it
So I'm
came out
talking
from
about the
the-
first one, right?
I forgot already.
They
I
move
think it's
into the home.
Yeah, that was a clap. That
The
was a
clap was, I think, the first Conjuring.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't remember what entity it
Yes.
was, but yeah.
And that entity was also on the top of the cupboard, I remember,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
That was like it's like a demon lah.
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
a demon that was trying to possess the mom or something, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Then there's the spirit of the old man that died in the house.
Correct.
Yeah. There's quite a few lah, which I actually is quite. I think
Yeah.
it's quite well thought of when they did the ghost stories.
Yeah. But for me, I know my top right up there, Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense. Yeah.
That's See, that's the thing. I don't think I've ever met anybody who's said like Sixth Sense in their top, but nobody has had the experiences that you've had.
Or they have, but
Yeah, so it's quite interesting
Yeah.
because like he knows this. Like for the longest time, my favorite horror movie was The Exorcist, and I was
I haven't watched it.
Oh yeah, probably don't. I raised in a nice, good Catholic household, so that movie just was like it's the same for you in that sense because
Yeah.
Sixth Sense hit so close to home that The
Right,
Exorcist
yeah.
hit close to home for me as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What about you? You don't watch horror?
So, wow. I mean, honestly, I don't enjoy horror films. I don't enjoy supernatural films only because, and I still live by this rule, and that's why it has served me well. I always feel like when I watch this thing, so I talk about it, it's like I'm inviting them. You know, I keep going back to this because it's something that my mom and my grandmom or my grandaunt always talked about when I was growing up. You know, these are things you don't want to invite.
Yeah.
Having said that, being a film lover, one of the films that I watched that I was very, very blown away by was this film, a New Zealand horror film called Babadook.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I keep hearing
Right?
about that.
Yeah,
I
watched it.
refuse to
Yeah,
watch it.
Babadook,
I
yeah.
refuse to
Babadook.
watch it.
Quite scary, yeah, that
It
one.
was scary, and I love Babadook because I think James Wan was credited with the whole revolutionary way of telling horror films by not really showing what it is at first, building up the tension of it.
Yeah.
But Babadook was the first film to do it
Yeah.
because for the whole duration of the film, except the very last 2 seconds,
Yes.
you don't see what the entity is.
Yeah.
Then they show you in the last 2
Oh,
seconds. You go, what the fuck?
no spoilers, no spoilers.
Yeah. But Babadook was amazing because it builds up and it builds up. And what it was I think it was about the depression of the mom,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
it was more about the trauma. And Babadook was the entity that it exemplified the mom's mental struggle.
Yes.
Right? So that was deep. I would say like as a series, I love this series. I know it's not exactly, but ironically it's named that, Supernatural. Do you remember?
Yeah.
The
yeah,
brothers?
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that series. I love at least the first 2 to 3 seasons before it went into the whole biblical bit, which I enjoy, but I think it veered too much away from what it started out as, where they were the demon hunters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and for some reason, they were cool guys, especially the brother
Yes.
Dean.
Yeah.
You know, and because of him, I love that whole, the Mustang, the muscle car
Yeah.
feel. And I always fantasize about having a muscle car because I've watched Supernatural,
Yeah.
right? And Jeffrey Dean
Now
Morgan.
you just need the supernatural abilities.
No, I don't want any supernatural. I don't want any of that.
No car is worth that.
Yeah, no car, nothing in the world is worth that.
Wait, I have
then-
one and it's really, I don't know how it didn't cross my mind. Insidious. Oh,
Oh god.
that one is
The
really.
kid one lah.
Oh.
all the
Yeah.
kids one, yeah.
See, this was worse than Conjuring in my
It was, you
I-
know.
I felt it was worse.
It was worse. It was
Yeah.
worse. And those jump scares and like. ugh.
The part that creeped me out the most was the bit that was set in daytime, where the thing was just right behind him.
Yeah.
Because that just breaks down the whole safety of
You think
sunlight.
you think
Yes,
daylight is safe?
sunlight,
ah?
yes.
Actually, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It
You
doesn't
always
it doesn't
feel
matter.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the bastion of comfort, right? So when you take the comfort away, like the nun,
Yeah.
daylight, like
Yeah.
things that you always veer to, you always wait for the sunrise to
Yeah.
be relieved, right? Like I mean, we can go into another story where I was in Batam for a shoot, and I was, very quickly, like Nongsa, the village.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I was shooting a series, and for some weird reason, every actor is just given one whole building to themselves. Yes. So the double story, 8 rooms place
Oh my
was
God.
just
I
me.
would have just bunked in with another actor.
Yeah. So like, thank God I saw nothing, felt nothing, but you get either your mind playing tricks or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But like I was just the whole time, I know I wasn't sleeping. I just prayed like sunlight. I'm just looking like I'm just waiting for sunlight. So the moment I open my eyes and it's like 6:15, I'm like,
Yeah.
but while I was sleeping, I refused to turn the other side because there's this like the corner, and I don't know what it is. Like I don't want to look at that corner. It's one of those scents. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, going back to the whole like when you break the bastion of comfort, that's the worst, man.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
Daylight.
Yeah, I think Batam. Yeah, I mean, if you do films and production there, you know lah, Batam got a lot of stories also, and usually because of the production costs, they are able to hire a bomo. And the bomo advice: don't do this, don't do that. You negotiate already. Don't cross this line. Once you cross this line, I cannot protect your people.
That's a clever thing to do. That's a clever
but
thing
not
to do.
all production have that, you know.
Yeah.
Ability to do it lah. But yeah. Babadook is cult classic now. So that was when I watched it a long time ago. I thought it was ahead of its time.
Yes.
The way they did it lah.
Yeah.
And the
haven't
way they
watched
play
it.
with mental health on that film itself is it's quite good.
I think those are my favorite kind of. And I say favorite, but even I'm also very scared. I have to watch horror films at a certain point where if I'm in the right mood, then it's okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. Be in the right state before you watch one.
Exactly.
Same.
I cannot just put it on. So for me, it's like those are my favorite kind of horror movies, like Sixth Sense, Babadook, and all that. There's that underlying.
That Insidious.
Nice.
But there's almost the underlying other story down there, like it's for Sixth Sense, like just from the character standpoint, it's that failed marriage and the grief that sorry to spoil a movie that's been out for more than 20 years, but like the grief that his wife is going through. For the Babadook, it's that her own mental health,
A descent into deep depression.
exactly.
Yeah.
And even from like the Exorcist, it was always like somebody was saying like it's a movie about the strength of somebody's faith.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Both, including the father.
yeah, exactly.
Because the father waved, the first one waved,
Exactly,
right? He
yeah.
waved in the end.
Yeah.
Only the last one.
Yeah.
Even then, he also sacrificed himself.
Yeah.
So those are always my favorite kind of horror movies.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah,
I think
something deep.
it's good. I think we really got a lot of things to talk about, and definitely we'll have to have both of you back.
Yeah.
If you want
We
to
can.
tell ghost stories, I think
Yeah.
I
y'all
feel
got a lot.
like we've
I
barely
think
scratched the
No
surface.
problem.
you have a lot of ghost stories in you. It's just that you're very reluctant because you're scared. Right? But after we talk about it, then everything
he
come
kind
out.
of
Right?
loosened up, right?
Yeah.
After.
Yeah.
Our friend Raihan also like that. Our friend Raihan, very religious, then he scared of ghosts one lah.
Yeah, of course.
But when you get him going, wow, I got another story, bro. I got another story coming. I think that's the beauty about telling ghost stories.
Yeah.
It brings people together.
Yeah.
Right? Then
Yeah.
you share different ideas from different
Right.
backgrounds.
I agree.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Ryan's catchphrase was always, hey, actually I got a story.
Yeah. So this question we ask all our guests, okay? What scares you the most? Now, fear is something that's very subjective. For us, it's very stupid. It's not
Okay.
ghosts.
Okay.
It's lizards. We both of us are terrified of lizards.
I am also.
Like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's the worst thing. It's the thing that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. It's that kind of that kind of fear.
Yeah.
So it could be anything.
It can be anything.
We've had guests here when we ask them what scares you most, they go life.
Yeah.
So you can get really specific or really existential.
Interesting.
That's quite
Yeah.
depressing.
You
Oh,
want to go first?
so you're leaving it broad.
Yeah,
very broad.
anything. Your
Anything.
greatest fear, like
Yeah.
it can be like claustrophobia or whatever. I don't know.
Well, you see, I'm claustrophobic, but I don't know that my greatest fear has to do with claustrophobia.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you answer first.
Okay, I'll
Yeah, go for it.
So there's two, right? So if we talk about something physical, then it would be lightning.
Oh,
Really? Okay.
Yes,
That's interesting.
I have a paralyzing fear of lightning. Paralyzing, and I mean, like the moment I see lightning, I'll just look down. Like people, and I mean, people like you would know this, right? I'm absolutely. I mean, the other one, of course, Thai in terms of physical would be heights.
Right.
But I think that's more common. So so I didn't mention that first. I have this paralyzing fear of lightning. Like if I see lightning, I'll just freeze.
Oh.
I just stop. I don't know why. I just hate lightning. Thunders are fine. I'm cool with thunder.
The sound is okay lah.
Sound is okay, but I would immediately if I see a lightning of that, I will count the seconds
Oh my
between
God.
the lightning and the thunder, because that will tell me how near, close. You know, till today, sometimes if I'm alone at home and there's lightning, I'll switch off every single socket.
Oh.
It has happened where I switch off lights, I switch off the fan in the daylight. At night, I have to turn on the light, right? But like in the day, I'll switch off all the light and I'll close the window completely. And it happened to me late last year. Like even in November 2024, I did that when I was at home once.
Wow.
It's still there. I have a paralyzing fear of lightning.
So it's the fear of getting electrocuted.
Yes.
Oh.
It is the fear of attracting that thing to me and me
The
getting
lightning lah.
electrocuted.
And specifically lightning.
Lightning.
That as in to get electrocuted by lightning.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Paralyzing fear. Yeah.
That's
I don't know where it comes
very-
from. Yeah.
You know, when you ask that question, right? Because it's so broad, then you
Yeah.
think like, oh,
Oh, sorry.
lizards.
Sure. Before
Oh,
that,
yeah.
the more existential one. So those are the physical
so you're
ones.
answering- okay.
The more existential one would be mediocrity.
Wow.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
deep.
I'm with him. I'm with him on that. Yeah.
Yeah. I have
Yeah.
this palpable desperation to not be mediocre.
Yeah.
In life
Yeah.
and in what
Yeah.
I do. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's something to strive for.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
course.
Thanks for sharing. But can I just ask you, like, just out of curiosity,
Yeah.
can you watch movies that depict lightning as the antagonist?
No. No.
Oh,
I get freaked out. Yeah, just that purple flash
That's
thing. I hate
interesting.
it. I absolutely hate it. I don't know why. I just hate it. Like, you know, sometimes
Maybe
I get
there's some childhood trauma there, man. Maybe like there was lightning somewhere. You were 5, you blocked
Lightning
it
in the
out of your
bottle.
mind, and then now you're just like lightning.
But
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't know where this fear came from.
No, I don't.
Have you asked your folks about it?
I
Yeah.
mean, I asked my mom, and so far there's no story.
Wow.
Like, she didn't share anything with me.
There must be some.
No, but
story, man.
it sometimes it just comes like, for
Yeah.
example, I didn't
enough.
used to have the fear of sea, the open sea. I don't know what's the actual term. There's a fear of the open sea. I am terrified of open seas. I
Yeah.
can swim,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I'm still scared. I don't know why. I think it happened one time. I had a nightmare that I drowned, and then it just
you
stuck
see,
with me.
so that's valid though.
Something I thought
Yeah.
maybe something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to rationalize it, but I think fear is irrational.
Yeah.
Until
Yeah.
you really find the source, one day you will find the source. Yeah. Then I
Yeah.
think it is. How about you?
Yeah.
You know, being a parent, my greatest fear is my child dying before me.
Okay, very fair. I mean, parenthood is
So
a
that's the
very
greatest
noble
fear.
conquest.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true. Thankless job, right? Being a parent.
Of course it is, right?
yeah.
And you know, I for those who aren't parents, I guess like it's only fair that you can't relate, right? I mean, but some people, they love their nephews and their nieces so much they know what it feels like.
Yeah.
But I feel like the moment you have a child, you have this whole other person and human being and this beating heart that it's like your heart is walking outside of you.
Yep.
You know, and that's how I always feel. So as much as he's 28, you know, and if he gets a scratch, I'm like, ugh. If he gets if some girl breaks his heart, I'm like, oh God, I'm feeling all of this pain. If he's feeling unwell, I'm feeling all this pain. So like for me, that's always been my greatest fear, especially after having, my son. Like it's just like, I used to think like, because I'm actually quite, like I always say I'm the most fearless person I know. You know what I mean? I tend not to feel fear about a lot of things, hit me with anything, right? But that is that's interesting as a parent. Like, I don't know that every parent proactively thinks about it every day. I know I don't. But I would think that is probably every parent's greatest fear. And then when it comes to something that's not really tangible, right? Like for me, I cannot die having not been one of the greatest names in history. And being very, like the younger me would have not known what that meant. You know what I mean? What does being the greatest? I mean, come on, it's so vague, right? But for me, I don't know. I want to be known as not just one of the greatest Singaporean screenwriters in the world, female. I want to be like, no, if you ever say my name, I want to have, by the time I died, people will be like, Cassandra Rudge, oh yeah, she was actually one of the greatest screenwriters that ever. And I have a legit fear that I might die before that happens. So that is actually like that's why when you said the whole mediocrity thing, I'm like, that's so weird. Because for me, it's also very specific of like, if I'm on my deathbed and I have not been known as one of the greatest screenwriters, that is one of my greatest fears. So yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you'll succeed. I'm sure
you.
you will
Thank you.
succeed. I mean, we all work very hard.
we all work hard. We wish shit upon each other, right?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, thank you. That's very sweet. Okay.
Yeah, I think. I mean, as Singaporeans alone, we are hyper competitive.
Yes.
But as Singaporean creative filmmakers, oh my god, that's another level. So I get you. I think it's something that we kind of do think about also. It's like,
But
what
not
am I
in a
leaving?
competitive way, you know? More
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in a self.
Yeah, I want to do it for myself.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
And I mean, in a place where like, you know, the arts are like, you know, it's there. It's very nice that we have arts, but it's
Yeah.
not like, you know, really easy to like make a living out of the arts. I think
Yeah.
that makes us all the hungrier for it.
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
true. You know, like, I mean, going back to what she
Yeah.
said, I think that's one of the things that I think we are so aligned in.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
you know, we have the same vision. Like, you know, for me, like from day one, you know, like the whole mediocrity thing, it's very much aligned to also
Yeah.
not just my lifestyle, but me as an actor. Like, I've been so
Yeah.
obsessed. Like, I gotta be, you know, like,
Yeah.
great at what I do. You know, work
Yeah.
on my craft. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just keep working on the craft as, you know, we are all
Yeah.
craft people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And together, yeah.
that is, you know, I feel like that's the purest, because I feel like being in Singapore and being in the art scene is probably the purest indication of the love of the arts we have.
Yeah.
Because we have the least
Exactly.
reward
Yes.
out
Yeah.
of any country, I think,
Yeah.
in
least
the
funding,
world.
least funding.
Going into this industry. Yeah, it's true.
No.
Yeah,
But I want to
agree.
say like one thing, right? Our slogan is make great films, make films great.
Yeah.
And like together as a business, FoundFilms, that is like the collective of
Yeah.
we have to make great films.
Yeah.
And we have to do it in the name of Singapore, you know, for our industry. Like, so that's also, I guess,
we
like,
want we want Singaporean filmmakers, Singaporean actors and
Yeah.
all to be respected.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that is at the
So
end.
that's why
what
for
we
us,
would
found
love.
films, like we
Yeah.
always say, found films must never fail. We have to
Yeah.
make great films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, wearing red and white, like very
There you go.
Majula,
Yeah,
very
it's
Majula.
deliberate.
Yeah.
It's deliberate. They got
Oh
my
my
gangster necklace.
I think
He's
it's
like, listen to InSync. I'm the furthest thing from gangster.
yeah, I think it's a very good note to end the episode in a very high note, like a
Yes.
very aspirational
Yes.
Of
note.
course.
Thank you so much for joining us on this show.
Yeah.
Thank
But
you,
just
And
in
then-
case people didn't watch the first part, where can people find you online?
Well, we have a
Plug,
couple
plug.
of. Thank you so much, guys. Our website is www.foundfilmssg.com. That's foundfilmssg.com. Okay.
Yeah.
Then Instagram.
Our Instagram handle, right? What is it?
Wait, I'm looking through.
You pointed to her, she's like, yes.
And I'm always like the one who's always like, hey, we gotta get this, we gotta get that.
So
And
this
I'm
is
like,
our
what
Instagram.
Is it,
It's FoundFilms, FoundFilms_SG.
Nice.
So that's
Oh wait,
our
we've
Instagram.
got our TikTok as well.
Yeah.
Okay, we got TikTok.
Really
Wait,
going
don't
all out.
pray. Don't pray.
Go all out.
Go out,
Must plug.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
wait.
You want me to?
So if it disappears, right? We know lah. It's because of the show. So the page disappears.
It's
It's found film.
No, it's this one. It's at found FOUND full stop FILMS 7.
Like 007.
Yes.
Number 7.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's the company's.
The link will be
Yes.
down in the description below. So in case
Yeah.
you're watching the video version.
Okay. My name is Cassandra Rudge.
My name is Aizuddin Nasser.
My name is Wayne.
My name is Kyle. And 3, 2, 1.
And remember,
just because they're stories,
it doesn't mean they're not true.
Good night, everyone. Bye. If you want to stay up to date on HANTU or listen to our other podcasts like Ghost Maps, subscribe now and follow us on social media. Look for We Are HANTU or click the links in the description. You can also be one of our supporters on Patreon. Dead Air is a HANTU production, hosted by Kyle Ong and Wayne Ray, with album art by Jolene Lim, and recorded on Audio Technica mics.